A few weeks ago, we had been talking about it, telling you about it, discussing that Tuesday vote with the earnings tax and what that meant before that vote. And then right after that vote, we see the ordinance that was eventually passed by the city council last Thursday, and we know this was not completely separate from what the Royals were doing. And there is a reason, as Mayor Quinton Lucas said, that it is the Washington Square Park Crown Center area. I want to make one clarification here, and that is this is not a change from the Kansas City Royals. The Kansas City Royals never announced that this was going to be Washington Square Park. Who's up right now? We're going to head out to the press conference as soon as I find out who is actually talking right now. So, Bob Kendrick is talking right now.
Occasion, and at this point in time, I want to introduce the prime participants in this morning's historic announcement. So if you would join me in welcoming the Honorable Governor Mike Kehoe. The leader of the great city of Kansas City, Missouri, the Honorable Quinton Lucas. The Executive Chairman of Hallmark Cards, Mr. Don Hall. And of course, Kansas City Royals Chairman and CEO, Mr. John Sherman. It goes without saying that this is a tremendously important day for all of us here in Kansas City and the great state of Missouri. It is not lost on me as a steward of the story of the Negro Leagues how important the heritage of baseball is in this town, the winning legacy of baseball in this town, and of course it began in great part with the legendary Kansas City Monarchs, and of course it has continued for all of these years with our great Kansas City Royals. To have the opportunity to see baseball return to its roots, where so much history was made, back in the urban core is extremely exciting to all of us who are involved with this project. And I hope for all of you who will enjoy a new stadium for years and years and years to come. I remember hearing my friend Buck O'Neill say that when he joined the Kansas City Monarchs in 1938, he said, "I knew I was coming to the heart of America. He never knew I was coming to the center of the universe." And today, Kansas City baseball is back at the center of the universe. And today, Kansas City baseball is back at the center of the universe. And so with no further ado, it is my pleasure again to introduce the chairman and CEO of the Kansas City Royals, a baseball man and a baseball friend, Mr. John Sherman.
Thank you, Bob. But Don and I are honorable as well, by the way. Apparently you need the title, but anyway, thank you. Thanks everybody for being here. You know, I've got some remarks and want to turn it over to the rest of these gentlemen. But you know, I look out in front of me here today, and there's just some people that I can't help but talk about, because we would not be here without a number of people in the audience, but a couple of them are sitting right in front of me here. Former Mayor Sly James and former Mayor Kay Barnes. and we have a city that has a lot of momentum. We're going to talk about something today that I think will help us continue that momentum. But I would just talk for a minute about Mayor Barnes. She, first of all, has been very encouraging to me, and so has Sly. But Kay has written me several kind of handwritten letters. These aren't emails. This is snail mail. This is old school, but very encouraging to me, telling me to do things like think big, and if you think big, think bigger. And I think that comes from experience. It reminds me of the Harry Truman quote, make no little plans, right? And she was very encouraging to me. And if you think about, I'm looking behind me downtown, and what she did to transform downtown, we would not be here having this conversation today had she not had the courage to lead that process. So Kay, thank you. Thank you for that. And she reminded me that she had a vision. I think you called it River, what'd you call it? River Crown Plaza, right? And so, you know, you got the river, you got downtown, we got the crossroads. We're here in the heart of it at Crown Center. You got Midtown and you got the Plaza. I can go to Brookside and Waldo, where my neighborhood is, but I think this corridor, there's lots of places important in this town, including, you know, Leawood and North Kansas City and Clay County, but this is the core of it, and we're standing right in the middle of it. And what we want to talk about today, from our perspective, is to make it stronger. So, Kay, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for making this possible today. And I would say the same about Sly James. The airport that we have today is pretty damned important, right? And I'm looking right behind you at Kathy Nelson. There's no World Cup either. If we don't, and you think about this city fights above its weight class all the time, philanthropically and business and entrepreneurship. But you think about the audacity to think that you could have the World Cup as one of the smallest markets. We are the smallest markets so anyway, there's lots of people in this room. If I went around and looked at everybody, we'd be here all day. But I wanted to spend a minute about our two former mayors, and thank you again. Today is a day that by any definition is one that is worth the wait. It's been said that patience is the calm acceptance that things can happen in a different order than what you had in mind. It'd be real easy for me today to say this is how we drew it up. But they're never how you draw it up, right? There's lots of ways to say it. There's no straight line between point A and point B. But as I stand out here and look at all of you, there's many others that have played an important role in this journey. And talking about the inspiring view behind me again, patience has given us an outcome that we could never have imagined. There's no script for what we're sharing with you today, no playbook, no blueprint, no roadmap. Today is a narrative of community, of trust, of courage and vision, and of passion for doing something special for the city we love. So, as we share the attributes of a deal that will change our city and our core for generations, allow me to share some things that I want you to know at the start. First, the Kansas City Royals are staying in the state of Missouri. Congratulations, Governor. Congratulations, Governor, but also thank you. And we're staying in the city of Kansas City, Missouri. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mario. Thank you, City Council. And thank you, Parks Board. Second, we're bringing baseball downtown. We're bringing a second crown downtown, by the way. We will build a project that will be the largest public-private partnership in Kansas City history, with a total investment that will exceed $3 billion just in phase one. Third, we're announcing the specific selection of a site for the Royals' new home, and it will be right here in Crown Center. I'm going to let Don tell you exactly where later, but it will be right here in Crown Center, with the plan of bringing Washington Square Park into our expanded mixed-use ballpark district. Fourth, we're announcing the formation of an innovative, historic partnership with Don Hall and the Hallmark organization that merges a value system and a vision for something very special for our city. Together, we will rethink, reimagine, redefine, and redevelop Crown Center in an 85-acre plus setting here that will instantly become the largest sports-anchored downtown development of its kind. And as Don has said, it will advance the purpose of the Crown Center neighborhood, a place where people gather, connect, celebrate milestones, and create lifelong memories. And fifth, thanks to our public-private partnership with the state of Missouri and the city of Kansas City, we will build a $1.9 billion ballpark that will combine with a mixed-use development for a total of $3 billion plus investment in the heart of our city in phase one, with 2/3 of that investment coming from the Royals and private partners and 1/3 from our public partners. We're very excited to partner with Don Hall and the Hallmark organization. Don and I have worked together on issues important to this city for decades. His family's civic and philanthropic leadership is legendary. Kansas City is fortunate to have families like the Halls committed to our long-term success and sustainability. They have been giving back to this city for many decades in education, the arts, healthcare, social services, and they've done it throughout the region. Don, thank you. Your leadership is incredible. One of the most generous and prominent families in the history of our city. I'm also honored to partner with Don himself, who is the embodiment of integrity and selfless humility. Now, I'm told that came from Adele, but I don't know that for sure. You know, this town, we talked about punching above our weight class, but we have many great role models in this town. And I think of Joyce Hall, I think of Ewing Kauffman, you know, I think of people like Henry Block, and I hesitate to start naming any of them because there are so many. But, you know, and the ones that I've gotten to know, they didn't start a business. I mean, the entrepreneurial story of your grandfather, and I'll let Don tell it, but it's really incredible. And same with Mr. Kauffman. But they didn't start these businesses to make money, a bunch of money. They started the businesses to take care of their family, right, and pay some bills. And their success exceeded their wildest dreams, and then they all gave massively back to this community. And so I think it's something very special about Kansas City, and I'm proud, again, to partner with your family and others in this room. You know, Ewing Kauffman, I saw Esther George. I spent 10 years on the board of the Kauffman Foundation. She actually succeeded me as chair, so I didn't meet. I spent a lot of time with Henry Block, not so much Mr. Kauffman, but I certainly studied his life and his legacy. We take his legacy, what he did for the Royals, very, very seriously. This is a partnership between two treasured Kansas City institutions, Hallmark Cards and the Kansas City Royals. We are committed to creating a vision which honors our history, the rich past of both our organizations, while reinvigorating and reimagining what our future can be together. And together, we look forward to breaking ground right here somewhere in 2027. We have a shared vision for lifting up our community in a dynamic, energized urban setting that will elevate our city, not just 81 days a year, but 365 days a year. When we acquired the Royals in 2019, and we did not predict a global pandemic, by the way, in our business plan, but when we acquired the Royals in 2019, we knew that an early priority would be to stabilize our future in Kansas City, to fulfill Ewing Kauffman's promise that the Royals would be Kansas City's forever. After Charlie Finley moved the A's to Oakland after the 1967 season, Major League Baseball teamed up with Mr. Kauffman to bring baseball back to Kansas City, only missing one season. But that was just the beginning. What he did to keep the team here, and the Hall family and the community found it was a unique structure. He actually donated the team to the community because he couldn't find a local buyer. What he did to keep us here was extraordinary. We all owe him a debt of gratitude for that. I take that responsibility to him very seriously. There are many great ballpark neighborhoods in Major League Baseball. Recently, the Battery has become the gold standard, and for good reason. But this is a bigger project with more land in downtown and in the heart of the city. We're bringing a modern, state-of-the-art ballpark experience to our fans, closer to public transportation, like the streetcar, and where more people work and live, which will lower the barrier of accessibility for our fans. There are so many people to thank. I think, and I'll thank you both again, Governor Kehoe and Mayor Lucas. Again, thanks for your commitment to this, and we would not be here without you. Mario, appreciate your focus on this, your attention to detail, really doing, kind of the tough work that it takes to make sure that you can model up and justify a project like this. So thank you for your focus on that on our behalf. I want to thank the City Council. I want to thank you for your support, for your work, and also let you know that if there's, we want to communicate, if there's anything we can do to be more effective in helping you do your jobs, we want to be the conduit for you as you represent the folks in your districts. Brooks Sherman, where's Brooks? I really can't say enough. Look, Brooks he has carried the water for this. These are very, very complicated processes. And, this has been, and he has dealt with 2 states, a couple of different entities. We have landed in the right place, but there are a lot of moving parts on this, and he has been a workhorse. Brooks, thank you for all the work that you've done. I know we have work to do, but we also wouldn't be here without your efforts on our behalf. The civic leadership community, I'm not going to say all the names, but, Joe, Tim, David, Kathy, Floyd, George, thank you for your support. Labor, I'm looking straight ahead at Bridget Williams. Not Brenda, but Bridget. I called her Brenda one time, and I've never lived it. Actually, that was actually on live television. No, she's made it. I don't know if Duke or Ralph are here today, but we thank them for the work. And then Stacy Payne. Stacy has been an important part of this process. A lot of due diligence. We had lawyers and advisors, and Stacy knows everything about this place that we're standing in the middle of. So Stacy, thank you for all that you've done to make sure that this deal came together as it did. We actually have some advisors in the room. BDT MSD acted as an advisor in a kind of a unique way for the partnership, even though it hadn't been formed. We had separate lawyers, which obviously, advocating for each of us, but we actually had BDT MSD as an advisor on this transaction for both entities, and Byron Trotz, the chairman, he was involved in this. Zach Pack is part of their organization. He's actually from Kansas City. He's here today with his parents, who Marty and I are actually co-chairing an event for the Truman Library tomorrow, so maybe that's why you're in town. But anyway, Zach, thank you. And Sabrina Gleiser is with their real estate group. She was a really integral part of making sure that we had the credibility on both sides of that. So I know there's more people to thank, but I appreciate everybody in the room. And Steve, I love the hat and the bow tie, by the way. That's awesome. It's hard not to see you back there. Today is a day, and by the way, this is the first day I've seen JJ smile in about a week. This is more about baseball, but baseball is important too. Today is a day that by any definition was an impossible dream. It's also testament to happen when leaders, both public and private, come together with a whatever it takes approach to doing something special, something historic, and something that will change our city forever. This is what great cities do. Finally, it bears repeating. The Royals are staying in Missouri, fulfilling Ewing Kauffman's pledge that the Royals are Kansas City's team. What we will create together, both a stadium and a mixed-use development, will become a world-class ballpark district that will rival any sports development that exists in Major League Baseball, and it will be at least 2/3 privately funded. Today, we open up a new chapter in the history of the Kansas City Royals in a reimagined Crown Center that will be home to the best and most expansive ballpark district in any downtown in America. And Don, we're deeply honored to bring our crown back home to the very place where it was created, here at Hallmark. Destiny appears to have its eyes on us. This is exactly, I mean, I joked about this is how we drew it up. It's not how we drew it up, but this is exactly where we wanted to land in our search for a generational home for the Kansas City Royals. Thank you all. I can't wait to get to work on this. There's lots of work, and we'll get on with the program. You know, I think I've already probably said enough nice things about Don Hall, but I would say one more thing, and that is it's humbling to have earned his confidence and trust on something like this. This is a legacy family asset that I'm just telling you. I mean, Zach and Sabrina can speak to this. This is a rare situation where someone with this type of asset that was so important to his family, that did so much for the city, that you rethought it, and now we're going to bring baseball to the neighborhood and do something great together. For that, I thank you for your confidence and trust. I don't take it for granted, and look forward to doing something great together.
All right, there's John Sherman there at the podium talking. Bob Kendrick is hosting this event with Governor Kehoe, Mayor Quentin Lucas, Don Hall, executive of the board of directors of Hallmark, but John Sherman talking there. Coming up right now, I believe, will be Governor Kehoe. That'll be heading to the podium. I believe that is up next here, as he is heading to the podium right now. So let's listen in to his comments. Don Hall, actually. Don Hall is going to be up next. So here's Don Hall.
Legacy moments, and I think we're all so fortunate to be sharing it together. I wasn't there at the time of the dedication of the Liberty Memorial, but we've all seen pictures of that day. I think the entire city was out on the lawn. A president came and dedicated it. That was a big moment for Kansas City coming together. We're going to be gathered again in a couple weeks with the World Cup and on a world stage because of this place. So this is special ground here. You look over at Union Station, you think of its historic significance. The people that came and went to the World War II came back through that station. You think about the significance of the incredible Super Bowl wins that we've had with the Chiefs on that place, things that will always be etched into our collective memories, or the blue that we saw outside of Union Station when the Royals won the World Series. So what John is outlining today is one of those really important moments. It's a personal moment for me and my brother Dave, because my grandfather jumped off the train 115 years ago to make Kansas City his home and place to work. So this city is intertwined with really significant moments, and as we savor this one, I think it's important to be reminded that the enduring success stories of Kansas City, there's a powerful image that emerges. Kansas City has had leaders that have looked to the city as being more than a place to do business. They've invested their hearts, their resources, and their long-term vision. My grandfather, J.C. Hall, and John Sherman are two such leaders. separated by generations and industries, yet united by a shared belief in Kansas City's promise. Today, those visions come together. Standing at this spot, I cannot help reflect on the fact that my grandfather hopped off that train when he was 18 years old to build a business here, only because he had heard people talk about the Kansas City spirit. That's what drove him to Kansas City. He got caught up in that spirit. It fueled his business, creating jobs, nurturing creative talent, and building a company that would grow alongside the city itself. He believed that when you invest in people and place, the return is measured by what you do to make the Kansas City spirit more vibrant for everyone in the community. That same belief is demonstrated by John Sherman's leadership today. His decision to anchor the Kansas City Royals in downtown isn't just about baseball. It's an expression of the Kansas City spirit. It's about economic vitality, creating shared experiences that bring people together. And that very vision of bringing people together to work, celebrate, and connect is what inspired my grandfather and my father, Don Hall, to build Crown Center. When the A's left Kansas City in 1967, downtown was in decline. This entire area where we are standing right now was blighted. Crown Center was conceived out of a desire to make downtown more vibrant. About the same time that the Royals came to Kansas City in 1973, Hallmark was in the early stages of building Crown Center. So now, after almost 60 years of committed focus to this district, Crown Center has become a place for innovative retail, businesses, and a cultural center. It's home to the Irish Festival, October Festival, and our new Hallmark Christmas experience. It offers an expansive square with fountains, ice skating, museum-quality art, green space, and wonderful architecture. Crown Center is also surrounded by some of the most important Kansas City institutions, like Union Station, like Liberty Memorial, like the Federal Reserve, Children's Mercy Hospital, University Health, and Ronald McDonald House. Those are our neighbors. My grandfather always believed a great city depends on having great transportation. Crown Center is centered between I-35, I-670, and Highway 71. It's adjacent to the railroads, to the streetcar, and currently has more than 9,000 parking places just within our 85-acre Crown Center space. The Royal Stadium will take advantage of all this existing infrastructure. John spent the last several years trying to find the best home for baseball. John could have explored other markets. Most owners do. But John never lost sight of what mattered most to him: preserving baseball in Kansas City, strengthening the future of our city, and using the game to bring people together and make memories for generations to come. This new Royal Stadium will be fully integrated into the surrounding community, building on the original vision of Crown Center as a gathering place for all Kansas Cityans. This is exactly where baseball stadiums belong, at the center of our community where everyone can access it. Bringing the Royals downtown requires real commitment, certainly by the city and the state, but by all of us. When John and I talked about the idea of bringing the Royals to Crown Center, I asked him where in this entire district of Washington Square Park and Crown Center would be the ideal place for baseball, and how would it best enhance the entire district and add to our vision of making downtown a better place for Kansas City. After looking at all the options, it was clear that locating it where the Hallmark headquarters is today was the best location. So with John's announcement today, Hallmark is also announcing that our headquarters will be moving to make room for the new stadium. Our buildings have been home to generations of Hallmarkers and some of our most memorable corporate moments since we located there in 1956. While these buildings have served us very well, we are very excited about moving to a newer building that will be even better suited for our work today and into the future. It will be wonderful for our new global headquarters to remain within Crown Center and be part of this vibrant district that we will grow with together. Of course, welcoming a stadium into the neighborhood will bring about change. The Royals and Crown Center will partner together, as John mentioned, to develop a master plan for the entire district. With lots of consultation from our neighbors and building on the great things that are here now, we intend to make it even better in the future. There's an interesting history that the Royals and Hallmark share. John alluded to it. When the Royals came to Kansas City, they adopted the crown that has become one of Major League's most enduring and unmistakably Kansas City icons. That crown was designed by a Hallmark artist. When the new Royal Stadium opens here at Crown Center, the crown will return to the very neighborhood that it was created. Today's announcement reflects the alignment of history, heritage, and vision. It speaks to John's unwavering commitment to keeping baseball in Kansas City, Hallmark's dedication to strengthening the community we love, and the collaborative leadership of the Royals, Hallmark, and local government. Kansas City has always been a place where relationships matter, where people show up for one another, and where pride and community runs deep. My grandfather recognized that. John Sherman recognizes it. Their commitments reflect a shared understanding that when you believe in Kansas City believes back. Their stories remind us that Kansas City's evolution has always been driven by leaders willing to stay, invest, and grow. That's the foundation on which the people of Kansas City will build the next chapter. Today will be remembered for what the Kansas City spirit is, and how John Sherman's decision to bring baseball downtown will benefit Kansas City's future. Thanks, John.
You want to show them some pictures, John? You want to come down here and show? All right, come on.
All right, so there's Don Hall Jr., and they are going to be, I guess, showing some pictures of what the stadium potentially could look like. The understanding is that these are pretty basic and not renderings of specifically what it would be. Here's John Sherman explaining the photos.
Growing up in your neighborhood, but you've invited us to your neighborhood. So let's, if you wouldn't mind maybe telling us a little bit about the neighborhood, and then I'll certainly talk about the ballpark. If that.
Sure. This is the neighborhood. This is the neighborhood. From here, it stretches from 27th Street all the way down to Pershing Road. It's banded by, I'm walking right in front of you, and I'm sorry, right in front, banded by Gillum and Main Street. So it represents 85 acres. And in that area, and I mentioned earlier, our neighbors, Liberty Memorial, we've got Washington Square Park right here. Union Station is there. You know, the Hospital Hill and the wonderful attributes there, but it's part of the community, and we have always tried to be part of the community.
Yeah, I would just say from a baseball and a sport, this is an iconic site. I mean, you know, Don talked about in the shadow of Union Station and the Liberty Memorial, really in the heart of our city with the streetcar. And this is an 85-acre site. You know, our plan is to make Washington Square Park a part of an expanded district. There could be some real estate south of Pershing as well. But this would be a minimum 85 acres, which would be, you know, I think the largest sports-anchored development in downtown. It's certainly in Major League Baseball. And it would be our objective to bring energy and vibrancy to the neighborhood. Not just the 81 days a year, but the 365 days a year. Energy, vibrance, and economic activity. Don alluded to a master plan that we'll work on soon here, but there's just a lot of opportunity here. You want to go to next? You want to go to the next slide? Next slide. Is that okay? This is just another look that, you can see the streetcar. This outer circle is really what is a 10-minute walk, I think, from the center of Crown Center, Brooks. And you can see Highway 71, 670, I-35 over here. A lot of good egress and ingress. And interestingly, it's only a mile from T-Mobile to the ballpark, which is this is creating a lot of density, really positive density in the core of our city. Very, very excited about it. Anything you'd add to that, Brooks? Okay. Well, Brooks has got to execute on this. So.
I mentioned earlier the infrastructure, and there's some great infrastructure. The streetcar goes right here by it. There are 9,000 parking places just here on the 85 acres, not including some that is in the area. What you can't see from this drawing, but is representative of the conversations that John and I have been having and the rendering here, is that the ballpark will feel like it's part of the community. On opening day, it will feel like this entire community is about baseball, but it's baseball's incorporated into the neighborhood. If you're standing here on this bluff and you don't realize that there's a 90-foot grade change in less than a half a block there, we've disguised it well with buildings today, but we're going to use that 90-foot grade to our advantage. The ballpark is going to be in below that grade so that if you're walking along Gillum Road, the ballpark's only 30 feet above grade. It's not one of those imposing structures that you see in other downtown areas, which kind of says don't come in unless it's game day. This will feel like come in every day because this is part of our walk. That will be something I think will be incredible. The church steeple that is here will be higher than the ballpark, so it will feel very pedestrian. And people on this side of Crown Center will feel like they are part of, that baseball is part of their everyday lives. So it's not just going to be the 85 days that there's a game that this is activated. It will be the 364 days that John talked about that are critically important for our community.
Yeah, and baseball will bring more people to the site, but Hallmark does the Hallmark Christmas program that's very, very active. The Hallmark media, and we talked about Irish Fest and Boulevardia. There's a few. Kevin O'Neill got a big smile on his face. He's just glad we can still have Irish Fest over here. But anyway, I think that's an interest. This is, if anybody knows baseball parks, this is kind of like Dodger Stadium, in that when you come into the ballpark behind home plate, you'll be on the upper level, and the views are just extraordinary. So we really look forward to. Got a lot of work to do, and we'll be talking more about it, but very excited about. Next slide, please. Well, there's a lot of things we like here and that our fans like, right? The crown is very important to our fans. A water feature like fountains is, Governor, I think we're playing the Cardinals that day, and I think we're winning. We must be winning. The governor, when I told the governor one time we're playing the Cardinals today, I know you're from the other side of the state originally, he says, one thing I know when the Royals play the Cardinals, a Missouri baseball team's going to win today. George Brett can tell you how to beat the Cardinals. So. Anyway, I think, there's a lot. This is conceptual. There's a lot of work to do. But we're trying to incorporate the things that we like, that our fans like. And those views, those will be one of a kind, I think, in baseball. They're really stunning. Anything else, Don, that you'd add?
Yeah, I think just the feel will be very inviting. You see that you get a chance to see the green grass if you're standing on the square. What's more inviting than seeing the green in December and looking forward to the baseball season starting. So this will feel like it's really part of the community. John's vision of baseball being an important part of the community. And you'll see the activity on the street. There's a lot of street activity, vibrancy, which will make this a very vibrant part of the community.
Yeah, Populous is in the room, so this is by no means, but I think we're trying to, we got rooftop activity on top of those are the team offices, and it looks like we got rooftop integrated. And you think about the great neighborhood ballparks where, you can watch the game in other places around. So as this develops, I think it'll create a lot of great opportunity.
John, the fireworks, you didn't explain those. You were winning, right? You won the game. It's already
against the Cardinals. Thank you.
So there they are describing it, and I know on the radio it's not as easy to picture, but if you have a picture of where Crown Center Square is, it will be south of that. Our Lady of Sorrows Parish, which is 26th and Gillum, where Gillum and Pershing sort of come together, where Gillum and Pershing come together at 25th, would be right field. This would be directly facing north with the skyline in the background. The Crown Center Square would be directly left center, and home plate would be where that parking lot is just to the west of Our Lady of Sorrows at 26th, between McGee and Gillum Road, if you can imagine that. The Liberty Memorial would be directly west of home plate. The Western Auto sign, if you can picture that, would be in left center. And the skyline would be fully in center field. So this is the area that it will be in. A very small area, quite frankly, for a ballpark. But we'll see. It'll be very intimate there. Here's Governor Mike Kehoe.
Tell you that, what's special with the media here, so take that part out. But I will, this is now in my notes, but I have to say that Brooks and Mr. Sherman and I were in a meeting one day, and he was gigging me about my Cardinals relationship, and I, wear the hat and the whole thing. And I said, well, Mr. Sherman, let me just guarantee you, there's 2 Cardinal fans in this 3-person meeting. He goes, oh, no, there's not. There's just 3 of us here. I said, Brooks is from Sikeston, Missouri. He grew up a Cardinals fan. I had to rat Brooks out right in that meeting. Brooks, thank you. You mentioned earlier, I told Mr. Sherman he's been a real gentleman to deal with, as John has and the other ownership group. It's a great day for the state of Missouri and for Kansas City, right? Now, not many teams would start off an event like this by just 12 hours earlier having Michael Garcia steal home plate. Right, Bob Kendrick? That was a heck of a play. So that was a good way to get things started, and good luck. It's great to see my friend Bob Kendrick. He has, I tell everybody, it's one of the diamonds in all of America right here in Kansas City, and I'm grateful for his leadership and what he's done to bring the museum to a new level. So thank you, Bob, for doing that. We're grateful for the partnership with the Royals and the Hall family. Mr. Hall's always been very kind to me in various endeavors that we've had, and it is incredibly cool to see that this iconic location and campus is now going to be a part of this history. First, a shout out, and I'll explain a little bit more in just a minute. I brought my friend Speaker John Patterson with me, and I want you to know a few things about Speaker Patterson and the General Assembly, and as Mr. Sherman mentioned about the special session. You don't get things moved forward without a speaker. Your speaker comes from Kansas City. Your speaker co-sponsored the legislation that helped Kathy Nelson get the World Cup here. Your speaker is the one who said, let's get the Show Me Sports Act passed, and let's talk to these teams and make sure these businesses that we call economic development stay where they belong here in Missouri. And I can't thank Speaker John Patterson enough for his leadership. So thank you, Speaker. Of course, we're grateful to the entire Royals organization led by Mr. Sherman and Brooks and the entire ownership group. But I know the Royals leadership and staff have been very involved in multiple locations, multiple states, multiple complex decisions. and we're grateful for that. Mayor Lucas, thank you for you and your team and taking the leadership role in this. Mayor Lucas and Phil and I met multiple times trying to figure out what do we do to make sure that we keep these businesses here. Mayor Lucas quickly introduced me to Mario, who is he's his own crown in the center of the plaza there, Mario. But I had somebody earlier say, Quentin doesn't like this that you're doing and that. I said, these are relationships. I've been married for 36 years to a Cub fan, for God's sakes. And so we can figure things out. And there's certainly things that the mayor and I won't agree on, and it's just going to be the way life is. But on the things that we do agree on, we agree to work together on to make them happen. And so, Quentin, I really am grateful for your leadership. And the Honorable Mr. Sherman and I appreciate what you've done. And now to the Honorable Don Hall, thank you for your eloquent remarks. Your family history, I tell people about it all the time. It's unbelievable. And even though my wife might like some other baseball team, which will now remain nameless, she's the biggest fan of the Hallmark movies. So there you go. It was perfect to be here with all of them. We've got our DED team here, led by Michelle Hadaway and Mark Stombaugh. They worked very hard with the ownership group to try to make sure the right mix came together. Because if I've said all along, anytime I've been on any kind of radio show or press or anything, these two opportunities that we had in front of us with these two sports teams are no different than any other business. We got to make sure it's a good return on investment for Missourians, for the Kansas City family, and for, what we're going to put together as a package, just like we would a business who said that I would like to move here or move out or do whatever we wanted to do. We have economic development tools that we use to be competitive. And our DED team certainly knows how to collaborate with industries, showcase the kind of creative momentum that continues to move the state forward. We're proud to see organizations with deep Missouri roots working together to create new opportunities here and strengthen our economy and reinforce the pride so many feel for communities that they call home right here. Today's announcement is years of work by multiple folks that I just recognized, but it's also possible because of the work of the Missouri General Assembly, as we talked earlier. Last year, the Missouri General Assembly came together, House and Senate, 9 nonpartisans passed the Show Me Sports Investment Act. And we think that was an economic development tool that we would use for any team that's willing to make this type of investment, this type of facility to be built. And we think that it's a great investment for Missouri's taxpayers because this does not affect any existing programs. There's people that say, well, if you do this for them, then it's just like, as I explained earlier, it's like any other economic development tool. If the Royals were not here, we'd have zero. And so these tools are designed about keeping those revenue streams and those income flows here. And that makes it a net positive for the state and for the investment. And again, we're grateful for the legislature in both House and Senate and Speaker Patterson and his leadership on this and many other Kansas City issues. Kathy, you just got a huge award, Kathy. You should be telling everybody about the award she just got. Kathy Nelson came to me when we were she was filling out this 700-page application for World Cup, or it was 800 pages. It was insane. And I was in the Lieutenant Governor's office at the time, but we worked with tourism a lot. We worked with the arts a lot, Mr. Hall. That's how you and I met. And she said, we have this little thing. We got to pass a piece of legislation. I don't know how that all works, but we just got to waive sales tax on the tickets. And I'm like, well, that works very tough, and it's not easy. And so 2 people I would give credit, J.J. Rizzo in the Senate, Kansas City and Independence, and John Patterson stepped up to the plate in a bipartisan House and Senate manner to get that passed. And Kathy, I would think that was one of the biggest things that helped you land the World Cup. So people can work together when they have differences. Our 2 chambers can work together, and we're excited to have the World Cup here coming. I was super happy that Mr. Sherman recognized Bridget Williams. I have a different nickname for her, but I won't say it with all the media here. Okay? It's great. Yeah, okay. It's all right. It's Beyonce. So she gave me permission, and that's it. Mr. Hall, I'm grateful you pointed out the cathedral or the steeple on top of the church, because as much trouble as I get from my friend Mr. Sherman and my friend the mayor, my daughter's getting married at that church. And so, there's a Kansas City connection for the Kehoe family. We have 3 weddings in 16 months. That's a different story. Yeah, it's not good. This world-class stadium will embody the Royals, an enduring part of our identity, bringing together and showcasing the strength, pride, and spirit of our state on truly a national stage. Their presence downtown will drive meaningful economic activity from job creation and tourism to supporting small businesses, which benefits not just the Kansas City region, but it has communities across the state. The ripple effect from this facility will truly be far-reaching into rural Missouri and other parts of the state for the Royals fans and for the people who want to come here as part of the entertainment. Mr. Sherman said to me every time I talk to him, I want a Battery Park type experience. And I went and saw Battery Park in Atlanta. And this is going to exceed that. And it's all credit to you and your vision. And Mayor Barnes, thanks for telling him to think bigger, because he thought a lot bigger. And it really worked out well. We are really proud to support the efforts of Missourians and make sure that this investment represents what we think is a good fiduciary responsibility from the legislature and truly keeps a legacy organization here in Missouri, along with another legacy organization who we just heard's grandfather came down on a train 115 years ago and decided to stay here. That's what makes Kansas City a great city. That's what's going to catch the world as we go into the World Cup with the exposure we give the city, and that will be the gateway into this new complex for the rest of the world to see what great things are happening in Kansas City. We are super proud to be a small part of this, and we are thankful that we had all the investment we did from all the other partners, including the city of Kansas City. So God bless each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks again to the Royals and the ownership group and all the partners that put this together. Again, this is a great day for Missouri, and it's an awesome day for Kansas City. I'd like to introduce my friend Quentin Lucas. Not on every issue, we're not friends, Quentin, but on most issues. I mean, I serve with Joe Lee Justice. If I can get along with Joe Lee, right, Charlie? Yeah. 2 former senators that represented Kansas City great, so thank you for them being here as well. Would you please help me welcome a partner in this activity? And this project would not have happened without Mayor Lucas staying very steady after the prize here and making sure he got it across the finish line. Please help me welcome Mayor Quentin Lucas.
Well, thank you, Governor. It is always an honor to be with you. I always invite you to agree with me on everything if you want. So that's always an offer. You know, I have prepared remarks. I want to just start with this, though, and I think Governor Kehoe hit the nail on the head. This day is the sort of thing where we would have exceptional announcements for both things that are being discussed today. Retaining Hallmark and downtown Kansas City, building new headquarters, is a huge deal, not just for your workers, but for Kansas City, the state of Missouri, and our country. Congratulations to you, and thank you for staying with us. And then, of course, keeping the Kansas City Royals. It is business retention. I think it is business growth for the future of Kansas City, and we're proud to have you all with us. So this councilman was referenced before, but Kevin O'Neill likes to tell us old-timer stories sometimes. So I wasn't around in Kansas City in the 1960s, but the 1960s, the late 1960s, were a particularly momentous time in our city and in our region. And in the late 1960s, J.C. Hall, who has been mentioned, Donald Hall, and others, decided that they wanted to build what would be a revolutionary, one of the greatest mixed-use developments to be built in our country in the 20th century. They saw a downtown where businesses were fleeing, they saw challenges and concerns, and they knew they could do better. Also in the late 1960s, after losing a professional baseball franchise, people from Missouri, our Senator Stuart Symington, leadership in Kansas City, and others worked with Major League Baseball to say we need an expansion team. Ewing Kauffman stepped up. In 1969, we had the Kansas City Royals start play at Municipal Stadium. All of those folks were visionaries. In the early 1970s, Kansas City would see a Crown Center set of offices open. More things came along. It has always been an evolving story of what Crown Center is. And I looked at their website today, and they say we mean many things to many people. And that stays just as true today. We opened Kauffman Stadium, Royals Stadium, in 1973. And through it all, the visionaries saw that it was important for us to make a big difference for the future of Kansas City. I'm proud to stand here today with visionaries of our current moment. The new Royal Stadium and Baseball District at Crown Center will bring 20,000 jobs in the construction trades, providing work in the accessible core of our city, on transit lines, with proximity to every corner of our region and every demographic, to our electricians, our iron workers, carpenters, laborers, and more. The stadium, which Brooks tells me provides 1,000 jobs each game day, perhaps even more, will continue to employ union service workers. And importantly, in connection with this job, if you care about our workers, you care about their jobs staying right here in Kansas City, Missouri. And that is what we've been able to guarantee today. And on jobs, bringing millions of new visitors downtown for 81 nights each year and for hundreds of events through the year supports our hospitality workers and our industry, our small businesses in downtown, the Crossroads, the East Side, and Midtown, and continues on the transformation of Kansas City's downtown that I've been blessed to see from my youth through my service of today. I also want to give a slight acknowledgement because I was an intern for a week in the office of Mayor Kay Barnes when downtown was just this big construction site, and we were all wondering in some ways, I know the mayor knew, but there were so many who were saying, will it work? Indeed it has. Bishop, it feels providential in some ways that all of the different strands they're able to connect today. And thank you, Mayor Barnes and Mayor James, for understanding what connection in this city means, understanding what development in this city means. And thank you to all of you for ensuring that we'll be able to welcome millions of visitors each year, millions of more visitors, because Crown Center already gets quite a few, to the core of our city in downtown Kansas City. So our shared investment announced today is the best in many ways in public-private partnership. I'm grateful on behalf of our city and our region that John Sherman and our team ownership, and thank you all of you for being here today, are staying home. As the governor noted, if they had left, their revenues and their tax receipts would have left with them. Hundreds of millions of dollars leaving the city of Kansas City, the state of Missouri, stimulating activity and new jobs somewhere else. With our redirection model, their revenues stay in our community with a project for baseball and ancillary development that is funded by baseball and ancillary development, with no new taxes and with adherence to conservative and prudent fiscal management, checked and rechecked by City Manager Mario Vasquez and his team of watchdogs. And thank you to all of you. In a generation past, Kansas City had to swing for the fences. Today, we're able to do that with a tested model based on revenues generated today at Kauffman Stadium and downtown that ensure our community and our taxpayers will succeed just as the team does on the field. And has been noted already, there are many issues that come our way, but we recognize that we have answers for all of them. Parking, with thousands of spots available at Crown Center itself, and George Costello would want me to mention 3,000, I believe, at Union Station, and tens of thousands in the downtown area. There may be competition on that parking side. Public transportation, with a streetcar system ready to surge capacity on game days and special events, and a bus service where every route leads downtown. A park system, and thank you, President Hayden, for being here, that will ensure that Washington Square Park, Penn Valley Park, the National World War I Museum and Memorial benefit from new neighbors and the new love that millions more visitors will provide. And workforce goals that ensure that those who build our stadium and work at our stadium reflect the gorgeous mosaic that our city provides. There will be more, no doubt, to wrestle with, and we look forward to the community engagement over the months ahead as we do it. But as I considered my remarks today, while my wife, Catherine, and I were getting our 5-year-old and 2-year-old ready, which, as you know, is just kind of like wrestling with them and trying to figure it out, I thought a lot about the visionaries of then. People of the mid-20th century who gave us lifetime memories at Crown Center, at concerts, festivals, shows, or under, of course, the mayor's Christmas tree. People of the time that made it possible that we would crown champions in baseball in 1985 and 2015, and again soon, no doubt, with celebrations and community joy that few who have lived here will ever forget. Visionaries of a more recent yesteryear who helped Union Station, Liberty Memorial, and our entire downtown be reborn to the cosmopolitan job center that it is today. And my friends, I'm excited because we are the visionaries of today. While change to what we've known and what we have loved is a price, the future and the jobs generated, and the new businesses formed, the new tax revenues received, the memories created for our young people today and tomorrow will last well beyond our times in these positions and will continue to inspire that next teenager who, like J.C. Hall, had little in resources when he stepped off a train in Kansas City, but much in ambition and determination. The visionaries of today will inspire that Kansas City Public Schools grad, like Westport High grad Ewing Kaufman of a century ago, who would create immense success in business, but spend much of his time and treasure investing in a community that he loved. The visionaries of today, like Don Hall, John Sherman, Governor Kehoe, the leaders I'm proud to share the stage with and with whom I'm proud to serve in office with, are building progress for a city that will look different, welcome more, create greater opportunities, but will never change from its pioneering spirit. And the visionaries today are you, the people of Kansas City. You have shown in this neighborhood that we never abandon our history. You have shown that we believe in a community that comes together. You have shown that investment for a brighter future for our neighbors from every walk of life is always worth our time, a circuitous path, and our energy. I thank you, the people of Kansas City. Today, we announce a change for Kansas City for the future. We are changing Kansas City for the better. As I said recently, and I will say a lot over the weeks, months, and years ahead until we open the new park. Let's go downtown, let's go Kansas City, and let's go Royals. Thank you.
All right, there's Mayor Quinton Lucas talking about a new ballpark paid for with no new taxes, funded and created from revenues from the new Kauffman Stadium that will be built in the downtown area. So right now there's a short film going on that they are showing just the past and how Kansas City has, in that area, sort of come from where it was when, I guess, just simply the Royals starting, as they mentioned the A's leaving, and then 1 year in Kansas City without baseball, and now the Royals. But so I guess it's a video of the history of the Royals is what it is, going back to Ewing Kaufman, talking about where the new Royals ballpark will be with the Truman Sports Complex and what was a cutting-edge ballpark football stadium site connected with both specific football and specific baseball stadiums as opposed to mixed-use football and baseball stadium in one, to have them both there. So showing a video of from where they started then to now where it will be taking over the headquarters of Hallmark. And it would be roughly between McGee Traffic Way and Gillum. That's east and west. And the southernmost point would be 26th Street.
Yeah.
So between 25th and 26th, with McGee and Gillum, Our Lady of Sorrows Parish will still remain. Those in the Crown Center Square and where Legoland and the aquarium and things like that will still stay as well. There will be, I'm assuming, some hotels or things built that will overlook. This will be going straight north. This will be facing north. So I thought maybe it would be left field line would be going right down Grand.
Yeah.
But instead, left field line is going to be heading, at like your 10 o'clock towards Grand. Western Auto sign is going to be just left of center field, if you can imagine that. Washington Square Park is a decent distance from this, though.
But it sounds like it's somehow part of it?
Well, I think when they create the district, it will be the district will encompass Washington Square Park, all of Crown Center. Kind of looked like it was even east of Children's Mercy.
Yeah.
And a pretty decent area there that it will encompass. Let's listen to Bob Kendrick right now.
Man, we know we're going to get another World Series, but we're going to make some amazing memories. We're super excited. Thanks to all of you for coming, for believing, and being a part of what is truly a historic occasion. We're making history, and it's pretty cool to be part of making history. Thank you all so much for being here. Please, we're going to have refreshments up in the upper level there. You're more than welcome to join us. We want this group to hang out here where we're going to get a photograph of the group.
All right, we got
before
Bob
we
Kendrick
head
from
out.
the Negro Leagues
But
Baseball
again,
Museum.
All right, there you go. There's Bob Kendrick. Thank you, Liebs. That will wrap up the press conference portion of that. I believe there will more than likely be some sort of media availability with those representatives there. Governor Mike Kehoe, John Sherman, Mayor Quentin Lucas, Don Hall Jr. So we'll take a timeout right now. We'll come back. We'll reassess what we heard. Todd Lebo, Stephen St. John down covering it and letting us know the different people that are up there at the podium that are talking and how this is going. So now there will be a bunch of pictures and things like that going on and press event, and we'll take a timeout. We'll come back and hopefully hear from Mayor Quentin Lucas, Governor Mike Kehoe, and President, CEO, owner John Sherman of the Kansas City Royals. I believe Brooke Sherman is there in attendance as well. No relation, but somebody who has been heading up this entire project. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll talk a little bit more about what we heard. Not a lot of details in there. Those all still have to be fleshed out. Maybe there will be more details when specific questions are asked with some availability. We'll take a timeout. More Zone next. Well, I know there are a lot of people pumped up around that announcement there. Maybe some testosterone level going on. I don't know. There was some testosterone level at Kaufman last night with a walk-off win. That's right. If you're lacking that, Heartland Men's Health can more than likely help you. You know that guys in their early to mid-30s start losing 2 to 3% of their testosterone production every year. It happens gradually. Before you know it, that accumulates. And you have a very low testosterone level compared to what it was when you were younger. Not only testosterone, but Heartland Men's Health is also helping men go further with 4 targeted body composition plans featuring GH peptides, NAD+, GLP-1, PDA, and more, all designed to boost energy, support metabolism, enhance recovery, and accelerate fat loss. Simply schedule a consult with Heartland Men's Health today. They'll do your lab work, have your results within 30 minutes. A licensed medical provider will review the results with you, discuss the options, help you make the decision together with the medical team. Cost of the appointment, it's $99. That includes medical consult, T, and PSA test. And if you sign up for testosterone treatment the day of your appointment, your visit, it's free. You don't pay a dime. They have 3 locations to serve you: Overland Park, Independence, between Blue Springs and Lee Summit, and North Kansas City. Call them today at 844-447-6600. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, 844-447-6600, or visit heartlandmenshealth.com. All right, so we heard from Bob Kendrick. We heard from John Sherman. We heard from Don Hall Jr. We heard from Governor Mike Kehoe and Mayor Quentin Lucas. I think it's a big day in Kansas City. There are many more steps that will have to be taken because whatever happens with the lease, the negotiations that they get into with the Royals in the city, whatever the CBA will be, whatever they will do to suffice what is wanted from the city council, how this will incorporate as the Parks and Rec, because it's a decent distance from the actual ballpark to Washington Square Park. Like, that's like a 10-minute walk, maybe.
That's fine.
Which
That's
is fine.
close,
I'm just
yeah.
saying. I'm just saying, like, in terms of this being the leaseholders, being the Parks and Rec division, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
How big the TIF district will be? The TIF district looks like it does expand pretty wide, out to the east crossroads, west crossroads. Out to I-35, south of 27th Street. Now the question is that going to specifically be the TIF district? Or is that an area that they have circled and said, here's what we're saying of 20,000 parking spots, and parking anywhere around here is a quick walk? That could also be what the rendering is, because there is a rendering with a highlighted area that is a full circle sort of around. And I'm guessing now that that's probably what it is. That's probably not the TIF district. That's probably the area that they're circling and saying, this is the area that will be a quick walk, lots of parking spots. Easy to park, easy to spot. Parking spots at Crown Center. The ballpark itself is not what I had thought would be the case, even when we found out yesterday it was going to be something more closely related to Crown Center. I thought maybe the American, where they were hosting that press conference, the restaurant, I thought they were going to say, this is home plate. This is where home plate's going to be, and it was going to take up essentially all of the inside of Pershing to, let's see, Grand.
Yeah. Down to 27th.
Down to like 20, I would have guessed like 26th.
Yeah.
25th or 26th. That's not a vast area to put a ballpark. If you're talking about even the ballpark footprint, not even the parking spots from Kaufman or the parking lot at Kaufman, just looking at the outer bowl of Kaufman, or just the outer footprint of just the stadium alone, not just the field, but the stadium, the seats, the outfield. I'm not even going to include the little K, right? Just the walking around, let's just say fountains to seats behind home plate.
Sure.
And make an oval around that is where you would make that design of sort of a ballpark. That would be much bigger than 25th to Pershing North to East Pershing, Gillum, and West being Grand. It doesn't really fit in that spot. But they are going to then move it south of that. Now, we've been telling you that this is the spot that the Royals are going to be moving for a while. We knew this was going to be the area. Washington Square Park, downtown area. Downtown corridor, urban area, whatever. Not necessarily downtown inside the loop, but you get the point. Sort of connecting from the riverfront to P&L to the crossroads.
They said a mile away. They said a mile from T-Mobile Center.
Yeah, but like connecting the entire area north to south to where you can connect it from the riverfront to P&L to crossroads to Crown Center / New K to the plaza. and even going further south if you want to. But all of that then connected by the streetcar. Now, the streetcar is going to be another city block west of where even Crown Center is. So it'd be a couple blocks west of where the ballpark is going to be.
Can Lee Summit take the Amtrak?
Yeah, do it.
Right? Because doesn't the Amtrak go from Lee Summit to
Union Station right there.
Union Station?
I mean, that's the thing is like, it's
probably could.
It's not a long walk from Union Station to where they're talking about this ballpark going.
Lebo's about to Amtrak this thing.
I think what Lebo should do, and I think Lebo or St. John, I don't know where they parked, but somebody get on the horn with Lebo and text and say, Lebo, I want you to walk from the west side of 26th and McGee, so just 26th and McGee right there. I want you to walk from there to Union Station and time it to see how long that is. Because I think that would give us a good indication, because most people, if you're taking the streetcar, would be getting off at that spot.
Sure.
Is there I guess there might be Main and 26. Is there an exit at Main and 26? Not an exit, but is there a stop at Main and 26 for the streetcar?
Let me try this. 26th and McGee, right?
26th and McGee to Union Station. What is it to walk there? What's the walking time?
Directions.
I want Liebs to do that instead of just getting on the press conference and telling us who's talking and not talking.
Union Station.
You shut up, Todd.
It says 0.6 miles.
Uh-huh.
Says 15 minutes, which this thing I think it adds 5 minutes. 3 minutes.
It does?
I think so. I think they make it Hoover walks very slow.
TV adds 10 pounds. Map adds 5 minutes.
Makes it seem like
Unless you're
can't.
a fast walker.
Well, here's the
I'm
thing.
a normal. Well, I am fat, but
I am
makes
not
it normal.
My wife would make that in 4 minutes.
Yeah, this is easy.
My wife is a fast walker, and she's like, hey, you want to go for a walk? I'm like, no, I don't feel like running right now. Because your pace of walking is like a slow jog for me. I don't really feel like it.
0.6 miles. If it takes you 15 minutes to walk that, I have questions.
Yeah.
It says 0.6 miles,
That'd be a
15-minute
pretty
walk.
leisurely walk.
That's a leisurely walk there.
That's fine.
Extremely leisurely.
Leisurely. Is there
Sports are leisurely.
a stop on the streetcar at Main and 26th? And I guess there's not necessarily specifically 26th doesn't go directly over to Main because it stops where it meets Grand. And obviously the streetcar being on Main.
And by the way, that's going to be like the middle of the ballpark. That's not maybe even the entrance.
No, the entrance will be 26th and McGee. The left field entrance will probably be
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
McGee and like 25th.
Yeah, so it'll be even shorter than that.
Yeah, right. I agree, because if you're entering
From Union Station, you're
from
not
Union
gonna go,
Station, you're probably going to left field.
But the point
entering
remains,
there.
that's a very conservative walk time.
I think so.
0.6 miles, 15-minute walk from Union Station to like basically the home plate entrance.
What is it from? Now I want you to do this. I want you to look up. What is it from? Well, there really isn't. Click on the Hallmark Visitor Center. Hallmark Visitor Center to Union Station.
Okay. Sorry. Hold, please.
Because Hallmark Visitor Station will be right across from McGee, which would be left field, where probably the entrance in left field would be.
Hold, please.
I'm holding.
I have one in there.
Holding. Go for Sterling
Union Station.
to Union Station.
No,
What's the
not
walk
my
time?
location, you son of a gun.
Boy, how long's the walk from your location to Union Station, huh?
5 minutes, 0.2 miles.
Okay, so there you go. Because they're probably, going from 26th and McGee, you're walking straight west and then straight north, where there's more of a way to cut through Union Station. There's more of as the crow
You're
flies.
basically just going through Main Street and you're
yeah,
there.
it's more of as the crow flies from the visitor center over to Union Station. So you said that's a 5-minute walk?
That's what it says. 5-minute walk, 0.2 miles.
That's probably more accurate than the 15-minute walk, because it ain't 10 minutes to walk from the Hallmark Visitor from 25th and McGee traffic way to 26th and McGee traffic.
I
It ain't
know.
a 10-minute walk. So that's not that bad. So even if you get off of the streetcar at Pershing and Main, because there's definitely a stop there, then you're talking about a 5-minute walk over to left field. Now, some of the renderings also include there's going to be rooftops, which look like it would be just east of 25th, or excuse me, northeast of 25th, where that UMKC School of Dentistry is, so just west of that. Rooftops where the Hallmark Visitor Center is right now, so between Grand and McGee Traffic Way. There will be, looks like a hotel that would be just east of where the mayor's Christmas tree typically is, Crown Center Square. Probably just east, maybe even specifically of the ice skating rink that's there. And I don't even know what's there when it's not the wintertime in an ice skating rink. Maybe it's an ice skating rink all year round. I don't know. The only time we go down to Crown Center Square Fountain is, or Crown Center Square, is to visit the mayor's Christmas tree and do that. We don't actually go up to where the ice skating rink is.
Just water. It's just
we'll go to Sea Life and the aquarium. It's just what. Then they turn it into ice. That makes sense. So probably be a hotel there. The renderings, which they said were very basic, the crown would be in right field.
Yeah.
The fountains would be in dead center. It wouldn't be fountains in left field, right field. It would be fountains in center field, which I'm not sure how you do that because you need the batter's eye.
So looking at
I don't
the
think you can
rendering,
have
if
fountains.
I zoomed in.
Can you have fountains in dead center with no batter's eye? Don't think that's possible.
Well, what if you have the batter's eye? You have the fountains in front of the batter's eye, and the fountains aren't going to go unless there's, let's say, a home run or in between innings, right? So you could do it.
Yeah, but you're right. You would have the fountains in. Yeah, that's a good point. You could have the fountains in front of the batter's eye, and when they're pitching, the fountains aren't on anyway.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
So I guess
it's a good
you
point.
still could. It's not like the fountains would just be going on when other teams are hitting.
Drake brings up a good point, too. Drake, as a tech, says, because UMKC School of Dentistry is right there, and he said, getting on the roof of the dental school would be like pulling teeth. That's a good point. By Drake. You could say that. I'll let that one sit out there for a little bit.
Freddie
Drake's
Freeman can get some
vacationing in
veneers.
Cleveland right now, by the way.
And I love the fact that he's vacationing in Cleveland, and he's dropping nuggets like that.
Do you know Cleveland's motto?
It rocks.
At least we're not Detroit.
That is a great motto. Come on down to Cleveland town today, Cleveland. Come on down to Cleveland town, everyone. All right, so let's take time out. We'll come back. I want to talk. So we're sort of describing where it is. Let's talk about what we think of that location, what we think it'll look like, what we think it means bigger picture for the city. 2/3 of the investment is going to be Royals and private. 1/3 will be the public financing. Now, is that 2/3 of the $1.9 billion ballpark or 2/3 of the $3 billion phase one project?
Oh, that's a good question because
That's $2 billion or $1.2 billion. It's a difference of $800 million. So if it's only 2/3 of 1.9, then that's 1.2 billion they'll be investing.
well, working backwards, if it's $600 million was originally the thought process, then it wouldn't be of the.
So, well, the thing would, if it's $3 billion total, and the Royals are going to invest, Royals and private are going to invest 2/3, then that would leave $1 billion left over. Kansas City 600, the state 400.
Sure.
That could get you to $1 billion, and because the Show Me Sports Investment Act is allowed up to half, 50% of the cost of the project. The project has to be at least $500 million, but it's up to 50% of the cost of the project. Doesn't have to be 50%, but up to 50%. So if the cost of the project's 1.9, then that could be, $950 million. But if you've already got 600 from Kansas City, hopefully you'd only need, I guess to get to 1.2 for the 1.9, you'd need another 600 if that's the case. But we'll see. No, let me start over. Let's just go with the $3 billion project.
Okay.
For the whole thing. Phase 1, $3 billion. Royals 2/3 means $2 billion. Kansas City 600. State 400. Seems pretty simple. So that wouldn't even be, half. Half would be $1 billion.
Yeah.
Of what was left over. Actually, half would be $1.5 billion. But they wouldn't have to invest that from the state. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We are late for lots and lots of breaks. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue talking about this. Daniel Holmes will join us at noon. We'll talk some Chiefs football. The draft is tomorrow night. We'll continue rolling more zone next.
I know we're talking baseball right now, but do not miss out on the electricity that is the NBA playoffs, because right now, new FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get $400 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Not one, not two, not three, but $400 in bonus bets if that first bet wins. So from player props and your favorite stars to all the tools you need to back them up, FanDuel is the one-stop shop for you, and it's all in one app. So don't miss your shot. So NBA playoffs have been going on. They've been outstanding. The Sixers with a lovely upset yesterday. By the way, who got that one right? I gave you that on fact or fiction. That was a fact. I just had them with the points. They won outright. The playoffs have been going back and forth. I like Detroit tonight. They lost game one, actually, to Orlando. That was a big surprise. They're 8.5-point favorites at home. I think Detroit, they win this one. I think they cover. I think they have a lot to prove, so I am rolling with them and covering the 8.5-point spread. So head to FanDuel.com/local to get started.
21 plus and present in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com.
All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We will hear very shortly from Mayor Quentin Lucas. We'll hear from John Sherman. And we will also hear from Brooke Sherman. We'll hear from George Brett. And we'll hear from J.J. Piccolo. All of them that we will hear from with Todd Lebo and Stephen St. John covering the event for us as they had their press conference down at the American Restaurant right above Crown Center Square, which is northwest of where the ballpark will go. The ballpark, the initial renderings will be tucked between 25th and 26th Street and between Gillum Road, where Pershing and Gillum come together on the east side of that, and McGee Traffic Way on the west side of that. So it will not stretch to Grand. And it will keep intact Crown Center Square. That was a question that I had, was when they had announced that it was going to be Crown Center, I really thought they were going to announce at the American that here is home plate. Here's where it is. Like, we've known for a while around here that we've been telling people for a while on Sports Radio 810. If you've listened to Sports Radio 810, you know there hasn't been wavering for a while on this thing is going downtown. You can forget about all the other different elements, but like we had talked and I had discussed that, hey, first preference, stay in Kansas City. Second preference is downtown Washington Square Park area. And then after that, you can go North Kansas City, you can go Kansas. But those were distant third and fourth because, one, it's what I actually wanted, but two, we were aware around here that that's where it was going to go.
Yeah.
And we have been, Sports Radio 810, like we've been on the forefront of the stadium issue for a while and the revitalization of downtown. I mean, looking back to even 2004 when, John Sherman talked about Mayor Kay Barnes and how instrumental she has been in revitalizing downtown. Mayor Q now next up in terms of now getting the ballpark downtown. But Mayor Kay Barnes was told when she was running for election to be the mayor, it's a losing battle to try to get an arena downtown. It's just dumb. Nobody's going to go downtown. Nobody wants to be around downtown. Getting an arena will not pass. In fact, it was polled at like 40%. It's not going to work. You're not going to get it passed. And then she got reelected in 2003 and said, let's move forward. Let's see if we can get this done. Let's see if we can get an arena downtown. And in 2004, the vote came through and they approved the arena downtown. And in that press conference, the first people she thanked was Sports Radio 810 WHB in being a part of helping to revitalize downtown, in seeing the vision of what it could be because of how important an area and downtown area is to a growing, vibrant, thriving city. John Sherman saying, this is the core of the town. We're right in the middle of it. And that is the case. Without the Union Station renovations that took place from 97 to 99, which, Mayor Cleaver, without that, then who knows what Union Station is right now, maybe torn down. Who knows? But without that, do they even think about a downtown arena? Like, it starts the ball rolling. You get that done. Revitalize and renovate Union Station to the cost of like $250 million. But somebody had to agree to that and vote for it and say, this is worth it. Is it a loss leader, Sterling? Is it a revenue generator for the city? Ballparks and stadiums don't generate revenue. Okay, does $250 million to renovate Union Station, is that necessarily going to be the case? Hopefully. But it is also part of a vibrant city. So that, the downtown arena, power and light, the condos and apartments and restaurants that have been built around that, Crossroads becoming more vibrant, and now giving a boost to Crown Center to now make this area a destination for people to go. Just one other spot to make downtown even more vibrant and show even more about Kansas City's growth. Arrowhead moving out to Kansas and the Legends area, wherever that is, and continuing to grow that, the footprint of Kansas City overall. But the downtown area, not specifically being downtown, but I think you can start to expand that a little bit because, look, I know when we specifically talk about like Kansas City proper versus when I'm out of town and they say, where are you from? Kansas City. Well, I'm not specifically from Kansas City proper. Independence, Raytown, went to high school in Lee Summit, now live in Overland Park, lived in Kansas City, Missouri, near Power and Light for, a couple of years, lived up north. Where am I from? Kansas City. But the downtown area, I've always viewed downtown to include Union Station. Just me.
Oh, I have.
As I include everything around Kansas City, Sterling, as in Kansas City, even though it's not Kansas City proper. This isn't downtown. It's downtown to me. That's fine.
And I'm with you. Just the growth of downtown has been exponential. You look at it, again, growing up, even when T-Mobile got there, it still took some time. That was just, the start of the revitalization. But then you have 1 light, then 2 light, then 3 light. I think something semi-funny happened the other night, this past weekend. I was down there. I was working an auction, and I had 3 other friends downtown. We didn't know. We were all so I just ended up picking them up. We're all and started to hang out. I can't remember a time when 30-year-old people were all just hanging out downtown and you say, hey, let's all meet up here because we were there, because there's stuff to do, because it's fun, because it's exciting. All the wedding venues downtown. Patrick and Travis wanting to open up a restaurant downtown. I still go to concerts downtown. Just the amount of things that have continued to grow, and this is another part.
So true. When I grew up, Sterling, I've made this joke before, and it's not really a joke, but I've made this comment, and many people of my generation and maybe even a little bit older. If you ended up downtown, you probably got lost. Like there wasn't a reason for me to ever go downtown.
What happened? Did you go too far past the
off
plaza?
On the wrong exit.
Did you go down past Westport?
Yes.
No, Kelly's is that way.
That's right. And now there's specific. I never imagined when I was in high school or even in college, because getting to college in '99, again, the vote for the Sprint Center at that time, now T-Mobile, was 2004. When I graduated college in 2004, didn't think I'd ever be living downtown because why would you? But then I'm living, a block away from Power and Light, doing Royals post games right there from our Power and Light studio.
Well, this. I lived in Philly for 3 years. One of my good friends lived in Philly. He came out, went to KC, went to P&L, all this stuff downtown, stayed downtown, and he was enamored at how much fun it was. How enjoyable it was. It is different than like New York or Philly, or the big cities, but he loved the fact that there's so many things to do while also feeling a little more tight in there.
Yeah.
And so I think this is another example of it. I was not a Cleveland, for example, not a huge fan of the stadium there, but I did like the downtown aspect. We could walk in just like that. It's not raised above you, which was a huge aspect of this. They're not going to have this behemoth there where you look up at the stadium.
No.
You're almost looking directly into the stadium, which is perfect.
It's like the rest of the league right now. It looks down on the Royals. So it's not fair. They won last night, but this is a good day for Kansas City and I think the Royals moving forward. But it will be in a position to where East, South, Southeast will be raised above it.
Yeah.
And there will be elements of northwest of the stadium, which will be left field, where you will have raised areas of rooftops and maybe restaurants and maybe hotels and things like that. Let's hear from Mayor Quinton Lucas after this was over, meeting with the media a little bit.
Well, what's going on? Great day for Kansas City.
The process has been long.
Yeah.
On this. Just what's your feeling today to finally have this announcement?
Look, this is probably one of the best double announcements we could have in a while. This is a corporate headquarters retention of probably our greatest known corporate firm in Hallmark, in addition to making sure we retain the Kansas City Royals. So you are looking at billions of dollars of economic activity. I think you are seeing one of the most robust private development commitments. The Royals funding 2/3 of the planned development right now, I think is exceptional. And I think you are seeing, frankly, the exhilaration of a community. As we shared today, a lot of the things that people have been concerned about. Where will we park? 9,000 spots inside Crown Center itself. You're seeing the collaboration between the teams and the brands. You're seeing office development. I mean, this really, as I think John Sherman noted, is like the Battery in Atlanta, but on steroids. It is a different type of stadium than we have had ever in Kansas City. I think it is going to generate not just a greater amount of development, but more revenue long-term in building a community of our city.
Mayor, can you speak to the exact location of it? Obviously, you guys acquired Washington Square Park got the approval. And what is its use of? And was your understanding at that time that the stadium was going to be here at Crown Center?
You know, I think what I have generally known, and I go off the renderings that I saw before too, that the Royals are looking, frankly, at the footprint where we are now, 2 points east over towards Gillum, points south towards the parking garage next to Shook, Hardy, and Bacon as your general ballpark footprint. I'll certainly allow the Royals to share kind of more on that. In terms of collaboration with the Royals, I don't know if y'all believed me all of the last 2 years, but we had good conversations with them. We worked well with them. And I think, frankly, we continue to see good growth opportunity long term. And so, as I understood it, and I went to the Parks Board last week, I believe it was last week, knowing that Crown Center was going to be an important part of the development. I think as was shared by John Sherman and Don Hall today, Washington Square Park continues to be a part of what the district is, what the build-out will be. And I look forward to the Royals having the opportunity to, I think, share even more of that information.
What is the need for Washington Square Park if the whole complex is 80-some acres and that only is, 5 or something?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, first of all, you're seeing the access, and I'll let certainly others speak to it more broadly, the access to transit, that streetcar stop, Union Station, kind of that gateway from downtown is an important part of what you build out for the future of the new Royals Stadium. I think the Royals are interested in how that build-out can occur and how it can exist, what types of events you can have. And I'll say selfishly from the city's perspective, we get an entity that manages the park, that is able to do things like simple cleanup, security, all that other work. It's that sort of collaboration long-term that I think helps us better utilize a parks asset that, frankly, we have not been as active on in years past.
When did you learn the footprint that was shared today was the footprint of the stadium that you guys were planning to contribute money to?
You know, I think I continue to learn more about what the exact plans are. I think that all of this came quickly. I know people don't always believe us, but, you know, I think that what we have done was try to say, how can we come up with financial terms that the Royals will find, I think, agreeable to help us get a deal done. I think I'm proud of where we are. My interest was always in building a few things in our term sheet agreement that we'll have. There is exclusivity between the city of Kansas City, state of Missouri, and the Kansas City Royals. Those sorts of things were my primary focus. I do think the development footprint, though, is something that will be shared. We'll get to flush out kind of more ideas, and so I look forward to learning more about that, too.
Who's going to own this stadium?
I would believe that a city entity is going to own the stadium, and
you have to make a sports complex authority type thing.
I don't believe you need a sports complex authority. We will have a city entity of some sort. Currently, Crown Center sits in a property tax abatement district known as a Chapter 353. You can look to expand that. That's the Land Clearance for Redevelopment Authority. There are other authorities and agencies. We have a lot of good choices, but this will continue to be a government-owned parcel.
Do you think public perception about a site south of Washington Square Park could impact whether a vote on this passes if it gets to that level with Kansas City, Missouri, or Jackson County?
I love hypotheticals as much as anybody, but what I know is what we're actually getting done. We've passed an ordinance to facilitate a financial transaction that's a ballpark and ancillary development. The governor of Missouri and the Department of Economic Development of Missouri have worked closely with the Royals to fulfill that financial commitment, and I think this allows us to deliver a baseball park.
I know parking
is the target, and if so, how do you frame the groundbreaking possibilities, et cetera?
As far as I know, it's still 2030, right? I think that's been what the Royals have shared repeatedly. I expect this to be, that is a fast rate of getting some deals done, getting construction in the timetable done. But as far as I'm aware, that's where we are, and that's what we're looking to build out with our legislative work.
Parking has been a big concern for many fans. Does this plan include more parking, or are you confident that there's already enough parking in the area?
I think there is enough parking in the area. I'm sure that you can look to other parking being constructed, different types of parking, other types of development, and obviously there will be long-term development opportunities all around. I just say I think today is exciting for Kansas City because we have access to transit. transit. We have good parking in connection with our park system. We're keeping Hallmark and the Royals right here in downtown Kansas City. This is a huge day for Kansas City, the state of Missouri, and importantly, our entire region, Missouri and Kansas. Thank you all so much.
All right, there you go. There's Mayor Quentin Lucas. We'll take a time out, come back, continue rolling. We will change the subject. We'll talk some Chiefs football with Daniel Holmes, RGR Football Bleacher Report. Get his thoughts on the draft coming up tomorrow night. We'll get back into this conversation. We will talk with Mick Schaefer coming up at 1 o'clock. More Zone next. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcia. Michael Darcy hanging out with us on this Wednesday edition of the show. A lot of Royals and downtown ballpark talk, mainly specifically downtown ballpark talk, not necessarily Royals. But let's talk some Chiefs. We are a day away from the draft. And you know what? It feels like Christmas for everybody, but it might also feel like, I don't know, like your birthday or something like that.
We just like to wish you a very happy birthday.
That's right. Daniel Harms with us. RGR Football. Bleacher Report. Happy birthday, Daniel!
Oh, thank you guys very much. I appreciate that. Crazy the day before the draft.
Right? It's meant to be, right?
It's a weird thing. Usually it's like the week before the draft. The draft happens like the week after my birthday, and I think that's cool, but they did it a little bit earlier this year, so
yeah.
It's definitely a fun experience for me in that regard.
That's awesome, man. It's like Christmas morning for a lot of people, but you would say, you know what, it's kind of like your birthday for you. So happy birthday, brother. You can open up some presents tomorrow night and see what the Chiefs have in store for everybody. Daniel, I'm wondering, as we get to this point, we all like to, going back to January and when the season was over, we've been talking about dissecting, discussing, and cussing mock drafts along the way. Is there a time when you start to pay a little more attention to them? Is it now? Do they have more weight if you see the mock drafts? Like Peter Schrager's one that only does 2. His came out this morning. We see, The Athletic putting their final one together. Todd McShay putting his together. Does it matter like the day before or a couple of days before? Does that mean anything? Or do you think people are still sort of throwing darts?
No, I think that there's even more smoke now. So I think particularly as it gets closer to the draft, most of them get a little less informative for me, especially because we've been hearing stuff for months at this point. I would imagine some of the mocks, maybe if you're as plugged in as some people are right after the combine, might make the most sense, specifically for teams that have been scouting players for a lot longer. So the ones that didn't make the postseason, you might have a little bit more true information there, but that's just a guess on my part. I don't really know because I don't have information on the inside from the people who are plugged into the NFL. For me, if I'm looking, you can always say, oh, he got this right, he got that right. Well, if you're around the NFL, if you're talking to teams, talking to front offices long enough, you're going to get some picks right in general, just because you have that rapport. But overall, it's a giant guessing game. And it's a lot of fun to try to guess those things, but I don't put a ton of stock into a lot of the mock drafts from like the quote unquote insiders on the week before, because a lot of times I'm not going to say what I was about to say. I probably shouldn't say what I was about to say.
I say it.
A lot of times those are put out there for people to see, because we all know teams look at mock drafts, they look at drafts and just how things go, the consensus boards and things like that. So if you want teams to believe you are going to draft this player versus that player and put things in order for yourself to be able to either trade up, trade down, or sneak somebody you want to, you go ahead and put those out in the news a week, 2 weeks before the draft.
Yeah, that's it's interesting from that standpoint. And I've seen lately been a lot of the Reuben Bain to the Kansas City Chiefs. Peter Schrager, Jesse Newell, Todd McShay, ESPN Nation has Reuben Bain at number 9 to the Chiefs. Schrager has him at number 12, trading 9 and 29 for 12 and 20 and getting Bain at 12. Sign me up right now. Stop the count. I'll settle out of court right now if that's the case. And he has him taking Omar Cooper at number 20. So again, Omar Cooper, give him the Heisman now. Sign me up. I would definitely take that. What I've seen, though, Daniel, and I wonder from your perspective as you look at this, for whatever reason, one way or another, before the New York Giants trade with the Bengals, it seemed like there was an element of Reese, Bailey, and Bain, a very high percentage that all of those guys were gone by pick number 9. Since the Giants traded with the Bengals, it now seems like Bain is there in almost every one of these mock drafts. Even a mock draft in Lance Zierlein that has the Chiefs taking Mansour Delane and Ruben Bain going after, it's still Ruben Bain available at number 9. Is there a particular reason, do you think, with the Giants trading? Does that mean that everything is changed at number 5 for the Giants, and because they have 10, then that will leave somebody open? It's interesting to me that Bain was gone, a trade is made, Bengals are out, Giants are in, they've got 5 and 10, and now Bain is available in all these mock drafts.
I mean, maybe it's possible that somebody has been trading up with the Browns or with the Giants at 5 if they're trying to acquire more picks, right, more capital, because this is Harbaugh's team now. He's the one making the decisions, and he's the one that's going to be in charge of the process. If he's trying to acquire more picks in this draft to be able to help set, what he wants for the culture builders in the room, maybe one of those players is a defensive end. Maybe he's trying to do that, or possibly, sorry, that's the other way around. Maybe somebody, he's less likely to trade for one or pick one of those defensive ends, because if you look at the room in New York, it's full to the brim with defensive end talent. So possible, you're like, look, we're at 5. We know that these defensive ends have been picked clean in the top 10. We know that they're going to be going. There's going to be that drop off between the top 3 and the rest of them. So if you are a team below us, trade up and let us get some draft capital, and we'll look to do build our roster out that way. I think that might have been something that had been going on beforehand, but now with 2 picks inside the top 10, maybe the Giants are like, we can just go ahead and get 2 culture changers right now and not have to worry so much about trying to acquire that extra draft capital, and I can go ahead and just do this now and get those players in now. That's more of a theory just based on what I've kind of been seeing, but that does seem like the idea is that now that he has the draft capital for this draft specifically, and maybe he's not just trying to trade down to be able to get more for this draft, to get some of those doubles, those singles, and those culture-changing kind of guys in his roster, that he has the firepower to do it now.
Yeah, what I've seen a lot since that trade is Mendoza number 1. Obviously, that's been forever. But Bailey, Reese, and then Styles to the Titans, and then Love to the Giants. I've seen a decent number of mock drafts that have that, which if Sonny Styles is drafted there ahead of the Chiefs, to me, that's good, because it means one of those edges would be moved down the board, where it could have been if Jordan Love goes to Tennessee, then, maybe the Giants, maybe somebody else is taking, Ruben Bain, but with Sonny Styles gone and the Giants not, necessarily looking edge, they go with I said Jordan Love, but Jeremiah Love. That'd be odd if Jordan Love was drafted with the 4th or 5th pick. But Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame and sliding down, I think that's interesting, and I do wonder if that's just the whole connecting the dots of Robert Saleh and wanting his Fred Warner, so Sonny Styles is the guy at number 4 when it felt like Jeremiah Love forever was the guy at number 4 to the Titans. If Sonny Styles goes ahead of the Chiefs, does that change anything in your mind of whether or not Bain, Bailey, or Reese will be there at 9? Or in your mind, sort of those 4 guys were always going to be gone before the Chiefs had an opportunity to pick at 9?
Yeah, I think that's the running theory for me. Is I still think the Giants are going to be the one to draft Styles personally, and I know that we all want to connect the dots with Salah and getting his linebacker, but I still believe that you're going to want to give a running game to your number 1 quarterback. I think that's where they're going to go, but again, draft night will be all different. I still think that those 2 defensive ends would have been gone by pick 5 anyway. So it would have been Ruben Bain between picks 5 and then 9 or 10 to figure out who's going to actually draft that player. So this didn't really change a whole lot for me. I think it was still Bailey and Reese going inside the top 4, top 5. And it was everyone else trying to figure out where, if they were going to draft Ruben Bain.
If the Chiefs trade up, is there a player in your mind that they would be trading up for? Is there a player that would need to slide that they would be trading up for if they do move up from 9?
The only person I can think that they would actively trade up for is Ruben Bain. Like that is the only guy I can see them doing it, because they have there's multiple receivers in the first round that are going to go. I think they're going to slide a little bit further than everyone thinks they're going to. I don't think that the first one that's going to be drafted is inside the top 5. I think the Chiefs are going to have an option to be the first team to draft a receiver in this draft. So all of these positions, I mean, obviously tackle is the big talking point, which is the biggest smokescreen I've ever seen in my life. I can see it from here in Ohio. It's ridiculously big. And that just doesn't seem realistic to me.
Somebody lost on a deserted island would be able to be found with the smoke coming from that.
If it happens, we can look back on this conversation and say, well, we're just idiots, and they really were telling us what they were going to do all along, and then they did it. But I find it so hard to believe. But it's the only guy, unless Arvell Reese goes past the Jets at 2. That's the only other guy I could see the Chiefs feasibly trying to trade up to get with the Cardinals. So it's really 2 players, and they're both defensive ends.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about it.
Do you have Daniel Holmes is our guest, RGR Football Bleacher Report. Do you have an ideal position combo at 9 and 29, or just wherever they pick with their first 2 first-round picks? Is there a combo of position that you would like them to come away with, regardless of who the first or second position is that they take in the top 10 or top 30?
Yeah, for me, it's you have to get a defensive end with one of these picks. It doesn't. I don't necessarily care how the order goes. Obviously, I have a preference, but as long as you get a defensive end in one of these 2 picks, I think you're good. And then I know that tackle is in there somewhere, but my preference would be corner/wide receiver with the other pick. That's how I would go about it.
Yeah, I would too. Do you have if we go that route, and I am in complete agreement with you on that, is it 9 defensive end or 29 defensive end if your pick of receiver or corner is there at 9? I mean, if Bain's there, then I don't think there's any question about the way I would want that to go. But if Bain's not there, then I really wonder if we create a scenario, Bain's not there and they can't trade down. Like at that point, I don't think they would reach for a defensive end. I think they'd have to go a different route, whether that be corner or wide receiver.
Yeah, I think it would be wide receiver in that situation. Not because I don't think the corners are worth it, but because I think that their chance of getting their guy, which I do believe is Jordan Tyson, would be just something you can't pass up, especially with the depth of the corner class, and yes, what Steve Spagnuolo and Dave Merritt have been able to do with lesser talented corners. I don't think that should mean you should deprive them of talented corners. I think it just means that we can kind of push it down a little bit, the list of priorities. But I do think if it's not defensive end, it's probably wide receiver at 9, and then vice versa at 29, whether it's going to be corner or wide receiver or defensive end, depending on who you go there.
Yeah, it's kind of like, Patrick Mahomes can win a Super Bowl with lesser talent. Okay, cool, but what happens if you give him amazing talent? Dave Merritt and Spags can get the most out of these later round draft picks. Yeah, but look what he did with Trent McDuffie. So it's okay to give him like a high-level player to go along with that. Daniel Holmes is our guest, and I just like examining these different sort of possibilities here, and one of those, and in hypotheticals, one of those would be, my preference is Bain at 9, and if he's not there, trade down. My question to you would be, if Bain's gone at number 9, not knowing what the board looks like, and it's incredibly difficult not knowing what the board looks like.
Yeah.
Is there a player that you say, no, it's worth too much instead of sliding down to 12 and missing out on your player at number 9 to pick up, a high-level third-rounder, which could get you from 29 to almost 20 if you wanted to move back up? Is there a player where you look at, let's say, Tyson and Tate and Lemon and Delane, and those guys are all still available on the board at number 9. Is there a player that you go, I know it's not Bain, but I can't slide down to 12 and miss this guy. It's better than the value of what could be that mid to early third rounder that you can use to move up from 29 to 20 if somebody's sliding?
And for me, it's Jordan Tyson. And I know that everyone, I've gotten a lot of, well, he's missed this many games and the injury stuff. The injuries have been checked out, okay? The combine doctors have everything has been clear. He's been cleared of everything. Like, he's fine. He's good to go. And I keep seeing people say, well, he missed this amount of games. He got redshirted for a freak collarbone accident 3 years ago. Or three years ago. Like, that was years ago. It's not something that's going to happen again. And then he had a hamstring injury. Like, these are the things that have happened. So things that are not typically going to reoccur as long as you take care of the hamstring properly and don't rush yourself back. But then again, he gets also negative marks for wanting to come back and play football instead of resting all the time. So I'm trying to figure out where the discrepancies fall for, well, we want you to be tough, right? But he's not tough according to some people in the media, and yet he toughed out the injury to help them beat Texas Tech, and then he came back before he was ready by not being tough. So I'm trying to figure this whole thing out about what everyone actually feels about Jordan Tyson. But he's the only guy for me that if he's there at 9 and it's not Ruben Bain, that I'm going to go ahead and draft there if I have the option to trade back or take Tyson. Tyson's going to be Tyson.
Yeah, Tyson's my guy as well. If there's a wide receiver, I want it to be Jordan Tyson. I've talked about it for a while. That I know people have liked Carnell Tate. I know people have liked Mekhi Lemon, Omar Cooper, Boston, guys like that. Maybe not at number 9, but there's only one guy that I would want at number 9, and that's Jordan Tyson. And the injury issues haven't really concerned me because, I think you can look at it a couple of different ways. So if he hurts his hamstring, Daniel, and says, all right, I'm out, I'm not playing anymore, and it heals perfectly fine, and they go, oh, it was a hamstring, it's not a big deal, but he also then didn't work through it to come back and play. So is that a positive or is that a negative? Whereas he works through it when he was maybe advised not to, and he plays, and it takes a little bit longer to heal, and therefore, well, now he has a soft tissue injury, and this is something you got to worry about long term, as opposed to he fought through it. This is one of those to where it's like, beauty in the eye of the beholder, right?
Agreed.
Wherever you view it, it can be a glass half full or a glass half empty, and you can talk yourself into either side with how you view Jordan Tyson. I prefer to view it as somebody that said, no, I'm not leaving this game, and I'm a big reason why Texas Tech didn't enter the playoffs undefeated.
Exactly, and that's how I've kind of viewed Jordan Tyson from the start. And when you watch his film, I mean, I know he was just running routes against the air for the NFL teams last week, but if you can levitate, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt.
That was ridiculous. Remember that, was it an AI video that they put out of DK Metcalf jumping, and it was like a 60-foot vertical, and everybody was like, I cannot believe it wasn't measured at 60 foot. It was just like showed him jumping, and if you really thought about it, it'd be like a 60-foot vertical or 60-inch vertical, and it's like, I can't believe DK is so amazing. Like, guys, that's fake. This almost looked fake to a degree of him jumping up and levitating that way. That was pretty ridiculous. Daniel Harms, RGR Football Bleacher Report. What do you make of Jermod McCoy with the latest medicals with him, that there's a fear that he may have to have a second surgery with the bone plug? Then there's also the report that Ian Rappaport saying teams are actually more worried about how many contracts, not necessarily can he play through his rookie deal. There's a lot of information or lack thereof or speculation around Jermod McCoy. Is he a guy that may slide and be there at 29? Is there a Will Johnson aspect of him sliding into the mid-second round? Is he still the second cornerback off the board? And where would you take Jermod McCoy with some of the unknowns around the medicals with that knee?
The timing of all of this is very suspicious to me because they didn't come out after the combine. He did all of his medical stuff there. No one said a peep about anything until he ran his 40. And then it was, now we're worried about the knee. And no, I personally don't believe it. I'm not a medical doctor. I don't have any inside information. It's just all very conveniently coming out right before the draft instead of after the combine. We heard about Caleb Downs' quote-unquote degenerative knee immediately after the combine.
Yeah.
But we haven't heard anything about the Jermod McCoy stuff till after he ran his 40. So color me a little skeptical about that. But if there is something to worry about, then I do think he's going to fall farther than I probably want him to. I still don't think that he's going to have a Will Johnson-type fall because I think what we saw from Will Johnson when he was on the field for the Cardinals last year is that, he probably should have been the first-round pick no matter what. And, I mean, in a world where he has a Will Johnson type fall, getting him at 40 is stealing. It's stealing. Like it's an insane thing to think about. But I do think if there is a certain point where if he passes pick 20, then I think the Chiefs would have to be. I personally think they'd have to think about it because he's probably, if not the 1-2 corner in the draft, like the second one, easy. And only reason he's second is because of the injury. For me, when you watched his 2024 tape, he was CB1 the entire time. And the only reason I put him down below Delane, who again had a fantastic season and I think is worthy of being CB1 in this class, is because he didn't play. I think if he would have played, it would have been a far different thing. You just watch his tape and he moves differently. He moves at a different speed, at a different explosiveness, a different burst, a different type of athlete than the other corners in this class. And that's not saying anything against him. I just think he's that type of player.
Yeah.
So if he's around past pick 20, I think it would behoove the Chiefs to go up and see what they can do about that.
Yeah, Jermod McCoy is my number one cornerback, the guy that, I don't know that I would take him at number 9 with the injury concern. Now, Daniel, this is where best laid plans, everybody's got a plan before they get until they get punched in the mouth, the whole Tyson thing. This isn't getting punched in the mouth, but I want to throw something your way where you and I are in agreement that 9-29, the ideal position combo would be defensive end and then wide receiver / cornerback. But let's create a scenario here, and the board goes one way or another, and this is what we want to happen, but then we may have to pivot. And here's the scenario for you, Daniel. Bain isn't there. We go Tyson at number 9. All right, we're in the war room. We're drafting. We take Tyson at number 9. We're sitting there at 29, and we're thinking T.J. Parker. We're thinking a couple of others. But Jermod McCoy has slid all the way down to 29. Are we going defensive end no matter what, that we have to go defensive end? Or are we changing our strategy and saying, I know we came into the draft thinking 9 or 29 has to be defensive end, but we also have to fluctuate with the board. McCoy shouldn't be here at number 29. We're taking a guy who's really high up on our board. We'll worry about defensive end at 40, maybe even trading back up after this draft, early second round, to get another defensive end that may slide after these last couple of picks. Are you willing to leave the first round without a defensive end if that scenario happens?
Now, obviously, this is very dependent upon what happens with the defensive end position
100%.
in the first round. I will say both ways. If we see a run that happens on defensive end, no, I'm not taking Jermod McCoy because there's just not enough difference makers, and they don't have anybody. They just don't have anybody.
Agreed.
No offense to Ashton Gillotte, he's a rotational player. He is not a guy I'm putting across from George Kalafis and saying he's my 1B in this situation or my 1A. I'm not doing that. I just can't do that. So if we see a run like on offensive line and not a run on defensive end, okay, I could have a conversation at 29 if there's 3 options on the board, like a Mesidor, a Parker, and a Malachi Lawrence. If they are all there, you can probably talk yourself into Zion Young, the Gabe Jacques's, those guys as well. However, if those guys are all still available, which I would find extremely difficult to believe, then we can have that conversation that Jermod McCoy should be the pick, and then you trade up from 40 to find one of these guys. However, I just find that so far away from being possible.
Yes, I know.
I just can't do it.
Yeah. I only bring that up because, you go into a draft, and I think there's an element of the Chiefs last year saying, we are going to get a running back in the first 2 days, or maybe even early 4th. And then the board moves around and you're going, well, this guy shouldn't be here, so the value is more with this guy. And then you don't get a running back then, and the next thing you know, you leave there with a 7th rounder in Brashard Smith, who may ultimately be a wide receiver. Who knows? And I'm with you going into the draft, defensive end, and then some things start to turn, and you wake up Friday morning and you're like, they don't have a defensive end. What happened? Well, the board happened, and you got to be able to fluctuate with that. Daniel Holmes is our guest, RGR Football Bleacher Report. All right, last couple of quick ones for you. The Chiefs tomorrow night pick at 9, earlier or later?
I think they're going to pick at 9.
All right. The Chiefs pick at 29, before or after?
Before.
Oh, okay. I like that one. And then last 2 for you. If they pick at 9, who do they take?
Ruben Bain.
Yeah. Great. That is awesome if he's there. And number 29.
Trade up for Casey Concepcion.
Oh.
Or Kevin Concepcion, excuse me.
I love it. I love it. Trade up for Concepcion. Where is he? Let me. This is a quick follow-up. Sorry about that. If they're trading up for him, your wide receivers, is he number 3, number 4, number 5? Where do you have KC at as you have the list of receivers if the Chiefs are trading up for him?
He's my 2.
Oh, wow.
He is my wide receiver 2 in this class. I fully believe that if he had a better quarterback, then he'd be the first receiver to get drafted in 2026 draft. I firmly believe it.
Wow.
I know everyone says, well, he drops the football. It's not a technical issue with him dropping the football. It's concentration. Like, it's just concentration drops. Like, he's 5'11", 200 pounds. He's small. He's the guy that wins in this class. It's funny that Chiefs fans complain so much about wanting a wide receiver that wins against press man coverage. He has the best release packages of any receiver in this class. He beats everybody off the line with hands, quickness, and speed. Oh, we don't want that. Nope, let's go get a big guy that can test the win. No! We've been doing this for years. You complain every third down. No one's open. That guy can get open. No, we don't want him. We don't want him.
I love it. I love it. The guy's really good at contested catches. Yeah, he has to because he's not getting open. He's got to make contested catches. That is great. Daniel, you're the man. I very much appreciate the time, brother. Enjoy the rest of the day today. Happy birthday again. Enjoy tomorrow night, and looking forward to our conversation next week, breaking down what the Chiefs, Brett Veach, front office, Andy Reid were able to accomplish over the next few days. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Looking forward to it. It's going to be a great conversation.
Cannot wait. Daniel Holmes, RGR Football Bleacher Report. Happy birthday to him. And, yeah, when he talks about Casey's Concepcion and the drops, talking about it's a concentration issue, not a mechanical issue, it's the exact opposite of the reasons why I didn't want the Chiefs to touch Quentin Johnston, because that to me was mechanical. Like, oh, he goes up and wins everything. He's a body catcher. Like everything he was doing when he was winning at TCU, body catcher. I'm like, I don't want that guy. He's dropping the football and he catches with his body. No, thank you. He's gotten better over the last couple of years, but he was so brutal early on, he's had to then improve to a large degree just to get to the level now where he only drops fewer amount of footballs because the mechanical issue is a problem to me, unlike as he's talking about Concepcion from A&M via NC State. Number 2 receiver for him after Jordan Tyson. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. We will hear on the other side of the break from John Sherman. We'll hear from Brooke Sherman. We'll hear from George Brett. We'll hear from J.J. Picola. All that's still to come here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. The announcement that was made today with the Royals and Crown Center, Mayor Lucas, Governor Mike Kehoe, Don Hall Jr. there, along with John Sherman. Let's hear from Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe, who gave his thoughts earlier today at the podium. And after that, Todd Lebo caught up with the governor, and here's Todd with the media talking to Governor Mike Kehoe.
Is this a finish line on this for everything you guys
Well,
have
a
done
project this big with a lot of complex kind of parcels and pieces and partnerships, it takes a while to continue to work it out. I think it's safe to say that all entities involved felt we were at a point where we could move forward, and that's what today's about.
The Show Me Sports Investment Act allows Missouri to pay for up to 50% of a new stadium. Do you have a dollar amount of what that might look like?
Well, as you heard Mr. Sherman say that the total investment is $3 billion. So Kansas City, the city, and the state's investment will be roughly a third of that-ish. But we're really proud of the investment that has realized. As I said all the time, you heard me say today, this has got to be a good return on investment for taxpayers. If the Royals left, you get nothing. So using the Show Me States Investment Act, we think help keep the team here, or as I say, a business with thousands of employees, and ensure Kansas City's future in the downtown.
But you don't have a dollar figure for the...
Well, we said all along that the estimate on the dollar figure of the taxes they produce is somewhere in a $15 to $17 million a year range. Is what that will work on.
Who's on the hook if the stadium project doesn't develop enough revenue to pay back the state's commitment?
Yeah, that's a great question. We have clawbacks in this contract with the Show Me State Investment Act. We've learned from other economic development opportunities across the state and across the nation to make sure that we protect the taxpayers. So there are clawbacks involved that the team would be responsible for should something not go right.
How much upfront money do you think the state could give if there was bonding, for instance, for $750 or $900 million? How much money do you think upfront the state could give toward that?
Well, the bonding will be the upfront money. So the significant portion of what they need to move the project forward will come through bonding. Show Me States Investment Act offers the avenue to pay for the bonding to come back. So that would be the main thing.
When you talk about the annual fee, are you referring to any sort of fee that goes towards annual maintenance of the stadium, or just that's how you're calculating the number?
That's how we calculate the number. There's lots of details that we're working out with Kansas City, with the ownership group, eventually with Jackson County, to make sure that everybody has skin in the game on this, and again, that it's a good return. We think it's going to be a great $3 billion in the core of this community. That doesn't happen in the core of downtown anywhere in the United States. This is absolutely a game changer and something that will set Kansas City very different apart from everybody else.
With your conversations with Phil Lavoda, do you anticipate Jackson County kicking in for this?
County Executive Lavoda has been very much willing to be a part of the conversations. Obviously, they've got some things that they're working through in the county and what we're going to do at Truman and how that complex is going to work through. So they've got a lot on their plate. But we're going to continue to have him sit at the table with us to talk about what their investment could look like going forward, to be a partner as well.
With the Chiefs going across the state line, how does it feel to have the Royals staying here officially?
I am super excited to have 81 home games right where we're standing, plus the other economic activity that will come with the complex. Very excited that this came forward, and I believe for Kansas Cityans, as well as the rest of Missouri, this is a destination that many, many people are going to want to get to.
Would eliminating the state's income tax complicate the state's role in this at all?
No, I don't think so. The income tax model, as we've talked about, will now go to a vote next fall, and we'll work through that. The next year's legislature, should Missourians approve that, next year's legislation will work through what a potential new tax code would look like. Since our current one was developed in the 1930s, it's probably time to update that.
All right, there's Governor Mike Kehoe, and yes, next year when the vote's going to take place with the income tax on the Missouri side. As he said, the state and the city's investment will be 1/3 of the $3 billion Phase 1 total investment for the ballpark/district. They figure the taxes generated will be somewhere around $15 to $17 million per year. The question that was asked about who's on the hook if the money generated is not sufficient enough to pay back the bonds, and he said that there are clawbacks included with the Show Me Sports Investment Act, that the team will be responsible if things don't go right, that the bonds and the payback there The team will be responsible for that if things don't go right. So that was an important point that we were wondering about. You know, when you issue the bonds and there's that upfront payment, what happens if you don't get the return that was planned for? Somebody's got to pay back the bonds. And it sounds like the team is confident enough in this project to bring in the revenue that part of the negotiation and the contract and the lease, at least from that one statement, we'll see the devil is in the details, that the Royals, the team, will be on the hook if things don't go right. Now, is that fully 100%? Because he said we have clawbacks included, not we are completely clear. Maybe there's clawbacks that include the jobs that weren't created to the level that you said. So therefore, we're not on the hook for this amount. The revenue total, the dates that you said there would be activity down there and events, you fell short. Therefore, the tax revenue fell short. Therefore, you're on the hook for that part of it, because this was like certain clawbacks can mean certain things. It doesn't mean we are completely void of any remaining balance that we would be on the hook for if the money isn't generated to pay back the bonds. But we'll see. The devil will be in the details with all of this stuff. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. More Zone next.
on, you nerds.
His wife and kids think he's lame.
No!
We couldn't get Paul, so we're stuck with Mick.
Yep. Okay, still got it going on.
Mick Schaefer on The Zone with Jason Anderson.
Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, Mick Schaefer, KSHB 41 Sports Director. He's hanging out with us. He's right here in studio with us, presented by Avenue Hill Sports Park at Blue Hawk. Hi, Mick.
Busy week in Kansas City.
Woo!
Important stuff happening in the Current. They're back.
Yep. And the Chiefs are drafting a...
kind of go week in high school baseball, right? Right
Yep.
before you get to the
Yep.
regionals and playoffs in May. So, important week.
T.O. Barrett's going to go
T.O.
to
Barrett's going to
Vanderbilt.
go actually be more buried in the depth chart than he would have been at Mizzou.
T.O. Barrett, more like T.O. buried.
I don't know. Maybe Tyler Tanner's going to move off ball. I don't know.
I don't know. Chiefs are drafting Crown Center tomorrow night.
They are.
So it's a big week this week.
K-State got a guy from Montana. No, wait,
Yep.
his name's Montana.
Yep, by way of Europe.
Yeah, of course.
Wait, what?
I think Montana's in Europe, right? Montana Wheeler is the new
And he
K-State
played out
basketball.
Montana?
No.
Oh.
His name is
name's
Montana, but he's from
I
Europe.
didn't, maybe he was also playing at Montana.
That would be the move.
Yeah, I don't know.
There'd be some great NIL
NIL
deals. You go there, right?
You could-
It was just like
Four-wheelers, too, in
Montana Ford, Montana Restaurant, Montana Hospital. Yeah, it's me. Just give me money.
And
Just do a
Wheeler, you
commercial.
can just get literally four-wheelers. In
Yes.
Montana, that has to
Yes.
be a booming market. I think that.
Yeah, he's actually from Joe.
Fun fact, my mom
I know.
named a town in Montana Joe one time.
Is that the fun fact, really?
Wait, what?
We know that.
Yeah.
Your mom named a town.
Remember the whole Joe Montana? They named a town Joe in Montana, and Joe Montana was part of it. It was
don't
his
remember
mom's
that.
idea.
Yeah, my mom's radio station
That's
back then.
cool.
And then Joe Montana.
So that really happened. You're
There's
not just
still a-
full of it.
No,
Like,
there's
you
still
know,
there really is a town still called Joe Montana.
Joe.
Montana town.
Joe
It was
Montana.
called like
They were
Ismay.
still naming towns in
No,
1990.
they changed it.
It was
Okay.
it was named Ismay, Montana.
Well, Joe's a lot better than
Yeah.
Ismay.
The
Save
town,
that
the
town.
town of roughly 20 to 22 residents.
I love it.
undertook
I
this.
love it.
Amazing.
They was to raise funds for a new fire truck and community center. Yeah, it says right. KY 102 did this. Joe Montana visited the town,
pretty
which I think I
awesome.
asked him this because he remembers. He goes, I don't know if he went to the town, but he remembers the town flying out for a game.
They flew out the whole town.
20
Probably.
people.
I'm like
yeah.
a PJ.
So they flew out the town and they went to a game and met Joe Montana. But yeah, I asked Joe about it. He goes, I don't think I ever flew out there. The station did.
Part of Montana is it on? It's a big,
Is
it's a big
Mont-
continent.
It looks very
a big planet.
southeastern.
Beautiful planet.
Ooh, there's not much there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
town
is
of
there
20
much?
to 22.
Outside of Helena, there's not much there.
It's
in
usually on the
Yellowstone.
west side, all the towns like
Yeah.
Bozeman.
As of 2020 census, it was. Take a guess of how many people?
18.
I want to say 16 to 19.
17.
Well, there you go. I just nailed it. 16 to 19.
It's the
I
least.
said 18, so I'm closer.
It's
I
the
believe.
least populous incorporated municipality in the state of Montana.
Yeah.
How about that?
But I think
16
you
to
have to have
19
a
is
post office, I think, to qualify as a town. Something like that.
Probably.
They used to have a little mail delivery thing,
Yeah,
just
just a
to
little-
drop off,
little mailbox.
little
That's
drive-through
all I got.
thingy. But I said 16 to 19 because those were his numbers.
But it's pretty good.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Let's hear from, I believe this is John Sherman with Don Hall Jr. It's a little media avail after it was over with Todd Lebo and some other fine folks that are assembled. We'll also hear from J.J. Piccolo and also George Brett weighing in on this announcement today. But here is John Sherman and Don Hall Jr.
Location, the exact location of where this will be going and when that was determined?
You know, I think, Don, do you want to...
Yeah, the exact location is just the Hallmark headquarters building that you see right here. It'll go where our parking lot is off of Gillum and come all the way to 25th Street here.
So they need businesses to be displaced on
Hallmark.
headquarters?
Hallmark, yeah. And we just told our employees that the Hallmark building will be coming down, and we got to now go to work and try to figure out where we will stay. But we are going to be committed to Crown Center. We love this neighborhood. We're going to love it even more.
Julie, can you just speak to when that was determined and when you informed the city and just the city council of that as well?
Of the
stadium footprint?
well, we told them about that we were coming to Crown Center a while ago. Before they took it to the council. I don't know that we gave them the exact look. We told them we're coming to Crown Center. We're trying to protect Hallmark and their employees that from wondering if something leaked, kind of where they were going. But this is it's really right back here. I think what is that, 25th Street, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That would be probably the back of the center field wall.
When did this start? When did you guys come up with this idea, tearing down the headquarters, building a stadium here? When did it start? How fast did it come together?
That was his idea, but we've been talking for a while. This is I give Don a ton of credit. I spoke to it a little bit. Somebody, a legacy asset like this, and as Don and I were talking before we started talking about Crown Center, and but when Don really opened up and said, "Could we imagine Crown Center?" And that's that was months ago probably, and we've spent a lot of time together, just thinking through it with some architects and land planners to kind of think about conceptually what we could do here.
Question: Did the Royals and their architects also evaluate as an alternative the footprint that was kind of popularly, unofficially depicted in the press? And if so, why, beyond the Crown Center, if at all, was this considered more advantageous for the stadium itself?
You're talking about Washington Square Park? Or?
Yeah, the park and the Blue KC.
Well, I think the ordinance was Washington Square Park, Crown Center area. And, in listening to our fans, if you look, I probably should have talked about it while the map was up on the screen there. The architects could have fit something into Washington Square Park, but it had challenges for us as a baseball team. I mean, Brooks can speak to it. If you think about Minneapolis, they're over a freeway with Grand there. I think it's 11.7 acres total between the Blue Cross building and Washington Square Park. But when you look at this site that we just showed you today, what is that, 15 acres, Brooks?
15 acres is where the ballpark will sit on the Crown Center property. You get a symmetrical stadium, beautiful stadium that is everything that the Royals need, and it fits well into the 85 acres that is Crown Center, plus add Washington Square Park to that as part of the district. It's a great opportunity for the city.
And we had that feedback from our fans as well.
2 years ago, you got voted down by the Jackson County voters, and it's been a long 2 years since then. Can you just describe what the last couple of years has been like with all the places you've kind of been looking at to get to here?
Going back to, I would just say a couple of years ago, I think we misfired. There were some things there, but, we kind of woke up the next morning and just, okay, hey, look, we kept our eye on the prize and we stepped back a little bit, but, some things could have happened differently there, but it was, this is a much different situation, and it really got, to me, it got very exciting when Don Hall, in fact, I've told him this, but we were talking about it one day. To make sure I heard him right, I had to stand up, make sure all the air passages were clear, because he said, John, I'd like to think about talking to you about reimagining Crown Center. And look around you here. This is a one-of-a-kind site in the center of a great American city. This is really hard to come by. And then Don, we have a shared vision of what we can build here beyond the baseball.
$2 billion in private investment. Where else does that investment come from in terms of other investors?
Yeah, it's 2/3. Yes, so $2 billion. Well, the team will put about. We talked about it as a $1.9 billion stadium project for stadium, office, and infrastructure. We will put. We have plans to put $800 million in. The team does, and then the rest of that investment will come from our private partners here.
Don, will you be
for the development?
Don, will you be donating the stadium ground to the city and then selling other parts of the property to the Royals? Can you explain how that'll work?
I could.
Mechanics of it.
Brooks, maybe you want to describe the transaction.
For the stadium land proper, we will convey that to the city, and the expectation that the stadium will be there. We'll lease the stadium and that land back, and then we will be partners in our venture with Hallmark, with the Royals.
So with Hallmark's role, will you have naming rights for this new stadium?
We we aren't involved in the stadium per se, other than giving way to it with our headquarters. We're still very committed to the development around the stadium, but we're not owners of the team. We're not owners of the stadium, but we are loving this partnership of all of the area around the stadium, and it's perfectly symbiotic with our vision for what Crown Center has always been about, engaging the city and making this a better community. So we're very excited about the stadium being in this neighborhood and the collaboration that we'll have in building the master plan.
To be clear, the 15 acres is the only part that we would have. We will buy directly as the Royals and contribute that. So that will be the Royals, and then, as Don said, we are partners in the balance.
Who will own the stadium itself?
The city will own the stadium. We would lease it.
But just to be clear, the Royals will purchase that from the development company, our partnership, and then we will, I don't know what exactly that trend, but we'll contribute it to the city or whatever governmental entity will own it, and then we'll lease that back from them.
That's as part of a public-private partnership. That's our another private piece of the partnership, the land conveyance to the city.
Can you guys speak to the need to acquire Washington Square Park if you have all this acreage here at Crown Center?
You know, I think if you think about controlling more, in terms of that could be a great entrance to the stadium. You know, Don and Hallmark feel very strongly that we preserve a good part of this square here because of the activities that they do here. I mean, another thing great about this partnership. We're going to bring more people to the site, but there's already a lot going on here. You have 300,000 people for your Christmas experience, the other festivals that we have here. So really the objective there, Sam, would be to really incorporate that and make that a gathering area, pregame, postgame, and if when we get to the point where we can share a master plan, I think you'll see that creates a great gathering point, and then promenade up to the stadium.
What is your message to the fans who grew up going to the K and are a little sad about this move?
I feel the same way, actually. I love going to the K. There are things that we will miss. I love the K too. But, it's going to be 60 years old at the end of the decade. This is really about modernizing our future. But we'll all miss the day that we play our last game at the K. Everyone will be sad, right? But we will move on and bring that history with us down here to a very exciting place. It's going to prepare us for the 21st century.
Do you think 2030 is still doable? 2030 opening day here?
Our lease is up in 2031. 2030 may be doable. But I think we'll kind of see. We'll be able to talk more about that.
We'll talk more about that soon as we get fully underway.
Any ideas on names yet?
Thank you.
On naming rights?
Yep. No.
We'll have a process.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
All right, there you go. There is John Sherman, Brooks Sherman, and Don Hall Jr. talking about a whole lot of things there. We'll take a time out. We'll come back, and we'll talk about what we heard there from Brooks Sherman and how the acquisition will take place, the ownership, the lease, Washington Square Park, 2030, the private-public partnership, and the investment there from the Royals. A lot of stuff from that. We'll also hear from J.J. Piccolo and George Brett. More Zone next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, Mick Schaefer, KSHB 41 Sports Director, presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. Mick, what do you make of the location? I do think it's worth pointing out the clarification, because when it came out yesterday that, well, actually the ballpark isn't going to be specifically at Washington Square Park, and the reaction was, I understood it, but it's not correct, of, okay, here we go, the Royals are changing plans at the last minute again, when the Royals never actually came out and said anything about Washington Square Park. It was Washington Square Park, Crown Center, and it was sort of alluded to that it would be there. We've been saying Washington Square Park and that area for a while now here on the show on Sports Radio 810 with all the different shows. For a long time, we've been telling you that Kansas wasn't going to be a part of it. Clay County was going to be a long shot, that this was pretty much, all the focus was on downtown. While others were telling you there were different locations, we had been telling you steadfast, downtown is the spot. What do you think of the location that's now south of Crown Center Square, between 25th and 26th Street, just taking over the Hallmark office buildings?
It doesn't matter to me. What's it, a block away? I mean, I walked from Washington Square Park to Crown Center every day during the NFL draft. It wasn't bad.
How long was it? Was it like 3 or 4 minute
90
walk?
seconds, yeah, something like that. Maybe,
Sterling
maybe
knows
not even that. Yeah.
It's a long time.
So yes, I don't work for Hallmark. I don't pick up trash at Washington Square Park, so that part does not affect me. It's basically in the general vicinity, and looks like they had a great deal with Hallmark, and so it is basically in the downtown area. I joked with our news director today when I was talking on the phone with him, like, hey, give me the because I missed the press conference. I'm like, give me the Cliff Notes, and he's like, I'm like, so is this Crossroads? He's like, this is a Crown Center district. I'm like, I didn't know there was a Crown Center district. I knew there's a Crown Center. I feel like ever since this whole thing started, there's been new pockets of downtown that have been created. I've never heard of East Village. I've lived in this town
in New York.
Yes, exactly. So we going to Soho after this? And so I feel like, I don't know if Kansas City's downtown is big enough to have 9 different areas.
Boroughs now. We have boroughs.
Every 3 blocks is, it's Union Hill. Okay, what does that mean?
I'm from the Crown Center.
Yeah.
I'm from Crown Center.
So, to me, it's always been real. It's always been downtown to me. It'll always be Sandstone to me. It'll always be downtown. And I think it'd be cool that maybe the footprint of P&L and the one of the new Royal Stadium, whatever it's called, Hallmark Field.
Hallmark.
Hallmark.
Hallpark.
Oh, I like
that.
that.
Drake texted me earlier and said Hallpark.
Ballpark. Just it rhymes with Hallmark.
Yeah, ballpark does rhyme with Hallmark.
Yes.
Ballmark.
Right. Yes, there you go.
Oh yeah, like
golfing there too.
Or tennis.
But maybe you can close that. You can connect
Or-
those two footprints and have a cool little kind of corridor there in the middle of downtown with 13 light, 14 light, 15 light, all the apartments
We
going
can
up.
finally have
Another
the bridge
Lowe's.
that
They can
Arrowhead was going to build. Remember the bridge?
Spell Lowe's correct this time. Have a new Lowe's and put the W in front of the E.
Well, they can't because of Lowe's. What's it going to be? You have to build Home Depot. But
Lowe's can
spell
do
it wrong.
Lowe's can do hotels too. Yamaha does.
They build something together.
4-wheelers and trumpets.
They can
right.
They can build stuff together. You know,
Lowe's can do lots of stuff. It could do fencing and hotels.
Yamaha's like, we're going to make the best
power tools and
incredible
hotels.
violins, and also this.
And also outboard motors.
Yeah.
I do appreciate when I tweeted out my very
Michelin's like, we'll make tires and we're going to rate restaurants.
Restaurants, yes.
that is true. My very rough outline of where this would go, because the Our Lady of Sorrows parish is going to stay there.
That's a fantastic little storyline I just learned about.
And I like that somebody tweeted me and said, well, after every loss, you can just go to Our Lady of Sorrows. There you go. What's the story behind it?
Well, that it's staying there.
In that Our Lady of Sorrows, is there
I don't know much about the church. I know where it is.
I thought maybe there was something more when you said it's.
But just it's staying right there, like the house and Up. It's just right surrounded by everything.
I like that.
And
That's
then
great.
but I guess the ballparks can kind of be built into the ground a little bit. Is that what they were saying? I think that's cool. In that, okay, maybe it creates
that way. It's not
bigger buildings or more of a background there, and
but also it creates rooftops. It creates other hotels that will have scenic views.
Down it.
Chicago's
I guess they said the
like
spire
that.
of Our Lady of Sorrows is going to be you can look down into it, or it's going to be higher than the ballpark.
Cleveland's kind of like that. where
K-State football stadium's kind of like that.
Yeah, I think it makes sense because that way it's not just this gargantuan thing you're looking up at and all you see is concrete.
Yeah,
I
like
guess
it,
then
yeah.
you'd find the concrete canister if that was the case.
Yes, you would.
But you'd know pretty early on. But I like that it's going to be almost like a 1970s sunken living room. Is my thought process.
Dude,
on
they
that.
used to have those underground houses. We got them in Caldwell. A couple of those. They built them underground.
It is
just in
going to
case.
be a very intimate area that the ballpark is going to be like a puzzle piece or almost like a Lego that just fits right in there because
Sounds like
there
it's
ain't
gonna be
no,
pretty tight. It would have been even tighter at Washington Square Park.
There ain't a whole lot of room there. They said this is going to be 15 acres. For comparison, Kauffman Stadium and like the outfield, walking around the bowl area in the outfield and the Little K is about 18 acres.
Oh, wow.
So there's a few more acres for that. So you're going to have to cut down on some of the amenities that were there in the outfield, but I guess that's part of the surrounding district that you can enjoy some of those things.
So no more Little K, probably.
It also looked like
Just the big K.
But it also looked like the renderings were more built up.
Yeah.
Like there were a lot of seats to where it was in
a lot of
right
those downtown
field. And
stadium.
there.
Have you ever been to Twins, Minnesota's? It is.
I have not been to the new
straight
one.
up. Yeah, the new
I
one.
have not been to the new one, but that's where in right field, very basic rendering, but it had just like levels and levels and levels of built straight up rather than back and stadium seating that you would typically see. So that's probably what it's going to be closer to fit at least 30,000 seats because
Did they talk wall distance? The walls would be 250 feet because we only have 15 acres. Okay?
It would be hilarious.
Only have 15.
It's like those high school baseball stadiums. It's like 450 to left and it's 250 to right.
Yes,
where
yeah.
you're just,
yeah.
But I do wonder, like, can you hit it onto Gillum?
Sure.
Like in Boston, you know?
Oh, no, it'll be like San Francisco. We'll have people in kayaks.
Yeah.
There'll be no water.
see,
No
But
water.
they're just...
But I mean, you
there's-
have in Baltimore. What street is that?
Well, it's the warehouse over
You
there.
hit the warehouse there, and it can be out of the
and then
stadium.
at Fenway over the Green Monster.
Lansdowne.
San Diego's kind of like that, too.
They got
That is the
warehouse over there.
The warehouse
the
left.
Yeah, I do wonder if you hit it far enough, can it land on the street there? So,
And we're far. I was thinking they're a few blocks away from Children's Mercy, right?
yes.
I was thinking they could do an Iowa thing where
yeah,
they,
so
you know,
Children's
they,
Mercy's
every
right here.
Second inning, they wave at the kids or something like that.
Yeah, so the block is right
Okay, it's not-
there.
it's not
Children's
that close
Mercy is
then,
over
okay.
there. Yeah, it's going to be kind of difficult to do that. But it will be, according to the renderings, it will be north-facing, not northeast facing.
Well, good thing there's a dentistry school right there because people might get their chiclets knocked out from all the balls laying down the street.
Is that right?
Right.
So
maybe.
it's so. Okay, so
Well, I would say watching the Royals has been like a root canal lately.
home plate through the mound through center field is going to go like basically straight north.
Direct north.
Right
Directly
now
north.
it is northeast, correct?
Yeah, right now it's northeast. If it faced northeast, the left field line would have been right down Grand.
Yeah.
If they were putting it Crown Center Square, which
Yeah.
is what I originally thought that was going to be the case, is they would take out Crown Center Square and then right down Grand would be where the left field line is. But no, this is going to be facing directly north.
I always thought
Liberty
it was-
Memorial is going to be if you're sitting in right field, GA.
Yeah.
You'll see the Liberty Memorial behind the stadium over there.
I don't think you'll be able to hit it on Gillum unless it's a foul ball. I don't think.
Oh, that's a good point.
I
Yeah.
don't think a home run's
You
gonna.
have to hit it. You have to hit it to a Pershing. You got to hit a long way. You got to hit it a long way.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, you're gonna have to hit that bad boy about. I don't know.
I always thought that it was
900 feet.
positioned perfectly Kaufman now because it's usually in the summer you get south winds, but they're usually from the southwest. It's more of a southwest wind, which means it was going to blow straight out to center. So I guess this would be a little different.
Yeah.
But I'm curious at what they're planning on, like the distance. If it's going
I
to be
bet
a
400
hitter.
instead of 410.
Down the right field line,
No,
400.
just in center.
Oh.
I doubt they do 410 again.
I don't think they should do 410.
I would do. I've seen this offense. I'd do 280.
280? Yeah, 280,
That's
280, 285.
Seems long. Just softball,
whatever,
300 all around.
whatever you need.
Yes.
Michael, let's play the comments of J.J. Piccolo, Stephen St. John down covering the press conference for us. Here's J.J. Piccolo.
Good. That's Kauffman Stadium. Well, now it's going to be in a new stadium. But then when you think about the development that's going to be around, walking distance to the Power and Light District, I mean, it's everything wrapped into one. And I don't know how our city couldn't be more excited than we are to announce this.
And from a stadium perspective, what do you want to see involved most? I know Bobby Witt was saying some things about like, hey, extra exercise equipment, more equipment. What do you want to see in the ballpark?
Yeah, I mean that's something that we will certainly put a lot of time into. But you see the amenities that are around, not just baseball, but sports in general now, and it's quite the scene. When you think about performance science and all the different things that we do for our players for recovery, and playing 162 games in 187 days is tough. But the newer stadiums have greater amenities, and our players see it when we're on the road and they talk to players, so they're going to be excited because it's going to help their careers, and that's really important.
Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
What was your reaction when you saw the plans that were unveiled today, JJ?
Well, I think it was incredible. It's just spectacular to look at and to think about. As they said, I've been fortunate enough to be at Dodger Stadium, and when you walk in that stadium, and you're basically on the upper deck, and you look down through the stadium. Well, here you're going to be looking down into our city and the skyline of our city. It's going to be really unique. It's going to be really special, and it's it really, to see it come to life, and I know we'll see more and more over these coming months. It's going to just get better and better.
From a baseball perspective, is there anything that you want that's currently at the K transferred to the new ballpark?
Well, there's things that, I mean, the scoreboard and the water fountains, I think that was, very obvious that's going to be part of the plan, moving forward. But that's, our fans identify with that. And even with friends that I have, family that come into Kansas City, that's the first thing they say. That scoreboard's amazing. Those fountains are amazing. They don't even know the history of the fountains, being the city of the fountains, But now you keep that in the new ballpark. You're taking a little bit of what was part of our history at Kauffman Stadium, and you're bringing it to a new ballpark, and you're putting it in the heart of the city, which is incredible.
JJ, how can the development make the team better? Because I think the idea was always to invest more, have more resources for the team, right?
Well, I think you had the external and you have the internal. Internally, we're going to have more space. So just from a training perspective, that's going to make a big difference. Again, playing 162 games in 187 days is a lot. And trying to get these guys and their bodies moving every day, there's science now, there's technology now that we just don't have the ability at Kauffman Stadium to implement. Now we'll be able to do that. But then you think about things, and we were fortunate enough to play in Atlanta opening weekend this year. The players were commenting about the energy outside of the stadium. Well, that energizes our players, too. And you're going to be playing in front of 25,000, 30,000 people a night. There's life to that, and players need that. They feed off of our fans being at the ballpark with energy, and when you're coming in from a restaurant or a bar and going out afterwards, there's going to be energy in the stadium that's going to help our players play better, to be honest.
3.5 years we've been having this conversation now. Has it been frustrating? Are you guys glad it's done? Have you been tired of it at any point?
Well, you know what? Mr. Sherman was very good to me. He said, the less you know, the less you have to worry about. Just worry about the baseball team. But obviously it's on our mind. Our players ask about it all the time. And, say, hey, look, we just got to be patient. But our job is to really worry about baseball. Worry about putting a good product on the field, playing good night after night. So it wasn't a distraction for us. I think it was more of excitement, anticipation. Today we felt that.
In regards to the team right now, we just talked to George Brett, and he said now that they've ended that losing streak, you guys have got in the win column. Maybe there won't be so much pressure, and guys won't be trying to do things they're not capable of, and everyone can just kind of try easy and settle in. How do you feel right now after getting that win last night?
Yeah, that win was big. It was really big because, going through an 8-game losing streak is really difficult. I mean, no team wants that. But I think when there's expectations for a team and you go through it, it's even more difficult. We had a lot of unfortunate things happening along the way, and there were times we could have capitalized and we didn't. But that's what makes up an 8-game losing streak. But just getting a win, maybe the energy that we need, and we get a chance to get back out there today in a day game and get going and win another ball game and just build from there.
Now you can't wait to get back out there after that win last night, right?
Yeah, no, we're anxious to get going. We get the off day tomorrow. In some ways you want the off day on Monday just to get a breather, but you know what? That's not the way the schedule works. So go win a ball game today. Get ready for the Angels this weekend.
All right, there you go. There's JJ Piccolo. We'll take a timeout, come back, continue rolling. More Zone right after this. All right, wrapping up the show here. Let's hear Stephen St. John caught up with George Brett right after the meeting was over. So let's hear from George Brett a few minutes here.
Oh, we're getting close. We're getting close. That was a year ago. And I'm just glad it finally came to fruition. And, this is a great location. It's going to be a fantastic location. And the one thing that I was really unaware of, that they have 85 acres or 80 to 85 acres down here. That's a lot of land. I've been to the Battery in Atlanta. That's on 35 acres, and that's a lot of land. So I know everybody's concerned about parking. Everybody has a right to be concerned about parking. I was on opening day this year. It took me 35 minutes to get out of Lot M. I'm not worried about parking right now.
when you heard the plan, when you finally got the little concept of what's going on, how proud are you of the work that Mr. Sherman and
Oh, my
did?
God. John's been working his tail off. Brooks has been working his tail off. I'm glad to see the governor here, Governor Keogh. Quentin Lucas and I go way back, and I thought he did a great job doing it. But Don Hall, I don't think you could ask for a better partner in something this large, in his backyard, willing to relocate his family company headquarters. I've known the Hall family. I've known Don and Adele Hall forever. Considered them very, very good friends, and what Don Hall's doing is just unbelievable, making this available for the Royals.
How important was it for you, for the Royals to stay in Kansas City, Missouri?
Well, I live in Kansas. I've lived in Kansas for the last 40 years of my life, and I'm glad they're staying. We've had a lot of sports teams leave, and when the Chiefs left, somebody said, "Do you know how many teams have left the state of Missouri?" I think it was 7 or 8, going back to the Rams and Sporting and the St. Louis Browns, and you go all the way through. I'm glad it stayed in Missouri, and I really don't think the Royals ever intended to leave. And once the Chiefs left, I don't think the state of Missouri wanted the Royals to leave. So I'm glad they worked out a deal. I wish it was done sooner. Maybe we would be a year ahead of time right now, but I'm glad they're here. It's close to my house. I love it. I think it's going to be great for the development of this part of town.
What was your reaction to what you saw on the screen that they showed today?
You know what? One of these days I'm going to get out and walk. I want to walk it, but it's going to be special. I don't know. Have you been to Atlanta? Atlanta's special, and that's on 35 acres. We got 85 acres. I know everybody's really concerned about the parking. I think there'll be ample parking, and I'm sure that's something that John Sherman and that's something that Quentin Lucas and everybody's got to figure out parking. We got the train system coming down now. It's going to be good. I think it's going to be great for the city.
I know we've got a couple of years until it happens, but is there a part of you that'll be a little sad to leave Truman Sports Complex?
Yes. That's where all my memories are. I got a brick outside that stadium. When you walk in, when you walk in the main gates, people buy a brick and you can write on it whatever you want. And I said, thanks for a lifetime of memories. I will not have a lifetime of memories at this stadium. The one thing that I'm going to try to do, Stephen, I'll be honest with you, I'm going to try to get one of the urinals out of the Royals locker room and one of the urinals out of the visiting locker room to put in my house.
Love it. I want the same
Sterling,
thing. My basement. I talked about it yesterday. I want a urinal for my basement.
Why
Do I just
does he
go
want the
to
visitor,
the K?
I wonder, as
don't
well.
know.
He just wants 2, one from each.
You can put home and away maybe in the bathroom.
Oh,
so
yeah. You know what? He uses the home.
Yeah.
And everybody else that's visiting.
The guests
boys
have
and
to
girls.
use
That's
the.
good, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know
about that one,
Darcy.
Number 1 and 1, number 2 and the other.
Should we explain to Sterling how it works?
Not me. That's Darcy. I didn't ask that. don't throw me under the bus now, baby.
I heard Sterling say that.
I didn't say bleep. I was cussed. Didn't say it.
That was Darcy. I'll stick up for Sterling.
Wow, tides are turning.
Hey, bud.
I'm going to go with it being Sterling.